All right, so we live here, B.L.A.M TV, Black Lives Antimatter. We got a special guest tonight, Raheem, all the way from Phoenix, Arizona. We're gonna pick up where we left off last week. You know what I mean? Talking about code and street code and the concept of the streets being a myth, or whether the street code is an actual reality. And we're gonna use that as a bridge to get into some solutions. Talk about some financial literacy. Considering street life is often associated with getting money, we're gonna talk about some legal ways to get money. Offer some suggestions for young people and older people alike. But before we get into that, we're gonna jump into some of these current events on the rapid fire tip. Real quick, I'm gonna throw one topic out there, and then we'll just go through it, get y'all perspective on it. So this whole Derek Jackson situation, um, this is a very superficial story amongst many superficial stories. However, it has the attention of a lot of people and a lot of interesting dialogue uh, being produced out of the whole situation. If you don't already know, Derek Jackson is somebody that made himself famous. He gained a lot of internet fame giving advice, relationship advice to women. However, a lot of that advice was often one-sided and kind of more like peacocking for women in terms of uh, always making the man accountable and not necessarily making the holding women accountable. You know, what it did is it produced a large following. Black women loved him. You couldn't at the time tell black women nothing about uh, his videos. And then it came out later on that he had a whole gang of side bitches or side chicks or side women or whatever the case may be. Um, and it's also come out that one or two of them might be pregnant or whatever, which is really to me neither here nor there, man. Considering the things I've seen in my life and been through, but I think the problem is in the hypocrisy when he got online and presented himself a certain way and gained a certain level of fame behind it. But it didn't stop there. When everything came out, then it turned into him doing a hostage video with his wife wearing a bonnet, and that opened up the door for a whole bunch more dialogue and memes and crazy videos and all of that. But yeah, real quick, I just want to get y'all perspectives on this whole situation. Mill, we start with you.
Eric Jackson, man. To be honest with you, I really don't have a perspective, man. That shit.
Your mic.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Oh, my bad. I was saying I really don't have too much of a perspective on that, man. That kind of stuff don't really float my boat. But if you put yourself out there, you gotta deal with some shit.
Simple.
Yeah.
About you, Feet, what you think?
Preaching, man. He following the same. That's the
Steve,
blueprint of the preacher in the neighborhood, man. The Steve Harveys,
right.
That's that same blueprint, man. And we wonder why there's not a lot of men in church. You know what I mean? They're not preaching to us; they preaching to women. So it's the same blueprint, the same type of hypocrisy. We've seen it.
Right. I'm loving the reaction so far. This is why I wanted to bring up this topic in this conversation, because our reaction is like, as black men, we like, huh? So the fuck what, and like, like we already was looking at him like a pussy anyway. Like whatever, man. Like,
Steve Harvey.
Steve Harvey, all these dudes. But yeah. But anyway, go ahead. Boo, you next, boo.
Man, we laughed about it before. Well, I just found out about it through our conversation, so that's how much attention I was paying to it. But once you updated me, man, behind it being hilarious and just so what, and like just so transparent, and like Feek said, always in our community has been a fine line between a preacher and a pimp.
That's it. That's pretty much it. What you think, bro?
I share a lot of y'all same sentiments, but I think I will say this: what's in the dark always come out in the light, man. And he just strike me as a narcissist, man. Just very controlling, conniving, man. And even like I said, when you mentioned using his wife as a hostage, man, just keep it real. Like you up there painting pictures of, trying to hold men accountable. But what you doing in the dark, man, wasn't cool. So it's just a lesson to be learned, like what you project out in the open, just be mindful what you're doing. And it just speaks about his character. That's it, man.
Simple. That's a really easy way to summarize the whole thing. For us, I see in this conversation, it ain't no shock factor for us like it is for a lot of other people. It's like, how many times have we seen this? You know what I mean? Scenario in our lifetime. You know what I mean?
You see it coming.
Right, exactly. All right. So the next topic is mass shootings, man. We had this shooting in Atlanta, you know what I mean, where the boy shot up the Asian people and the spies. Colorado shooting. I mean, I'm losing track at this point. Sometimes I don't even know whether these situations are real or fabricated or what the situation is. Is it about gun control or what? But nonetheless, the shit is crazy. You know what I'm saying? What you think about it? Anybody want to comment?
I'm tired of seeing them walk them dirt jokers out, man. I want to see somebody carried out, man. You know what I mean? Everybody's getting walked out, man, out of places. It's crazy to me, man. But
kind of like a movie.
Wait,
It's kind of like a movie script. You know what I mean?
Hey, Mel, let me interject. So
Please.
I want to ask you. So I'm under the mindset that potentially be fabricated, man. For us to focus on something else than what's going on right now, and with the whole George Floyd situation, and where we at, and that they want us to take our eyes off it. Just understand how media works, and so I just want your take on it, man. Like, do you think it's like it's fabricated? You think they created this to distract us?
Oh, partly. I think a huge part of it, to be honest with you, man. I think they do a lot to distract us, man. And I think we're easily distracted as a people. You know what I mean? I don't know if they murdering people to distract us from George Floyd, but since that is prevalent, I think they're using it to distract us from the proceedings that's going on right now, man. I mean, it's not a whole lot of conversation my way about the George Floyd trial.
Word.
Yeah, I think with that. Yeah, I think too, man, on that fabrication question, there's always a percentage of that going on, but it's enough madness nowadays. You ain't got, it's like, me and Nas was laughing about that for real. Like some of this shit you can't make up. Like you can't make up some of this shit. Some of it that's going on out here. Like people is really that far with it because of the pressures what's going on. It's like a boiling point now. And for black folks, we used to pressure. Other groups, we getting to see how they respond.
So with that said, it's been a lot of talk about whether black people should be unified with the Asian community with all these attacks against Asians. And some people saying black people should focus on black people issues. Some people should saying, we should be supportive. What do y'all think about that whole concept?
I think we should stand in solidarity with those that stand in solidarity with us and have stood in solidarity with us.
Yeah, I think it's our time to stop playing Superman and try to save the world when we haven't been able to save ourselves. It ain't our job to be the moral savior of every group that's suffering in the world. Hello, black people in America and abroad. It is not our job to take on the roles of every group. That being said, and being in the brotherhood, of course we support those, like Mel said, we support those that support us, but not in front of us.
Well said.
What y'all think about these satanic shoes with the drop of blood in it and the boy doing the lap dance on the devil's lap, yo?
I'm going to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I'm too old to answer that one. Y'all better answer that one. I'm gonna show my age if I answer that. Straight up. Y'all go ahead. I'm listening.
Yeah, I ain't got nothing on that, man. I ain't got nothing on that either, man.
No, but no, what's before?
Satanic shoes. Wait, hold up. Satanic shoes.
Yeah.
The shoes are satanic.
He got
triple six shoes. Triple six shoes with the pentagram and a drop of blood in the sole.
My point is, the motherfucker who came up with it is not viewed as satanic, but the shoe is.
I mean, he did a video doing a lap dance on the devil's lap.
Yeah, I didn't see that. I don't want to see that.
Either. I'm scared to watch that. I gotta be in the right frame.
And there is no frame for me to watch that.
Yeah. I'm gonna fabricate one day. But listen, really though, what is a Little Nas X? Is this mother name? Excuse me for my ignorance. And then too, like, what's the whole thing with the well, we know, but like I'm not familiar, so y'all let me know if I get my ignorance. But like this cat's not very masculine from what I see.
Oh, no, he's coming out party.
He's a homo, man.
Oh, he out. He ain't. Oh, all right. So I can.
That was it. That was his coming out party.
Oh, all right. So I can just say it. So look.
He gave the devil a lap dance.
But when we look at the symbolic of it, isn't like the accurate? Isn't it real accurate?
Yeah, he coming out, man.
Like everything, the blood, you selling your soul, the whole thing, like it's real accurate. It's crazy, but it's real accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna add some levity to this, man. It's kind of like Jay-Z Lucifer's song intensified by a gazillion and then shown on video.
Yeah.
It's not necessary.
And then I had just happened to read comments before, like he kind of played them because I think he had a cut like the kids was into. What's it? Somebody Road or something, right?
Yeah.
So this the move. So he did a move. All the kids got into that. Gang got him up. And now the parents have been complaining, I guess, about this recent thing. And then he broke on them, like, it ain't my job to raise your kids, right?
Well, they were talking about his lyrics. The lyrics in the song that all the kids was,
but to me, now you played them because you used that whole audience. You played all that. And then you got real funky with it. So
nobody's checking them on it, man.
Nah.
Nobody's checking on it because they don't want to be considered homophobic.
Wow. Let's see. That's why I said I wasn't gonna say nothing.
All right, so here's a post that somebody put up on Instagram. It says the Lil Nas X hate is rooted in homophobia, and that's it. Full stop. It's literally a group called 3-6 Mafia. Bone Thugs and Harmony had demonic skits on their album. DMX played with Satan imagery and lyrics, also with prayers. People are mad at Lil Nas X because he's gay. Yeah.
Well, I'll say this.
They have
so all that satanic references, none of them gave the devil a lap dance.
Hey, Nas, why they hide behind that one though?
I mean that's the whole mode of operation, man.
It's the H word now. It's the H word now, huh?
Yeah, you can't. You're not supposed to say it, so I'm breaking all kind of rules. They looking for me right now.
So as a black heterosexual male, I can't say that's I won't even say offensive. I would just say to me, it's something uncharacteristic I wouldn't want other young males to see. So if I'm saying something to that offense, so I think it's not to be brushed. Now I'm labeled. Now and what is homophobic? And what year did that become a word?
Yeah, it's funny.
The term holds no relevance for me because it denotes a state of fear.
Right.
You know what I mean?
So that's where I'm at. Scared of what? Scared of what?
I think all of us have lived long enough. We lived before the gay movement became a movement. As far as like it being mobbed up the way it is today. Like gay people ain't nothing new. You know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure we've all been around. We've had gay. You know what I'm saying?
Family.
Yeah, so to imply that I'm afraid because now it's some type of movement, like you gotta come up with a new word.
Well, you know what it is. It's hyped up off of this media and all this attention is getting.
Yeah.
I remember the trans person or whatever you want to call him tried to kiss Genuine, the singing dude. He was like, man, get the get the fuck out of here with that bullshit. And they called him homophobic after that shit.
Right.
Like,
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, they're attacking.
lucky you ain't get fucking smoked out. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're attacking the manhood piece on that, man.
Yeah.
Heavy. But the way that ties into me, what we talking about, though, I'll tell you this, is as a group, and that's the reason why that H word is a word now, because they have power.
Oh yeah.
Because they're galvanized as a group and a unit and using that galvanization to exercise some power.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Exactly. So we're gonna take a couple more minutes. I'm gonna throw a couple more out there, and then we can get started on our topic for the night. Krispy Kreme donuts and weed in exchange for the vaccine. Who getting in line?
I'm running low.
Come holler at me.
Mill, all right, save me, Mill.
Come holler at me. We good.
They giving you the weed and satisfying your munchies behind it.
Damn, boy.
You know I keep some snacks in here, Vu.
I know you do, baby. The oatmeal raisin, baby. The oatmeal raisin cranberry. We in. Fucking Krispy Kreme. We in, baby.
Man,
Right.
Rob Mill fight you over some Entenmann's, boy.
It's not no more,
Crazy,
man.
man.
Them niggas, I got used to these cats stealing all my shit, especially Vu. I
Yeah.
can't hide nothing in my own house with him, man.
I ain't still. I'm coming to take you. Where the shit at? Yeah, where's it at?
I can't even hide nothing in here, bro.
But real quick on that, Dread, it's just disrespectful to me how they market to you.
Right. Well, who's that marketed to?
Bingo. It's just exactly. It's disrespectful to me.
Yeah.
Market to you.
Yeah. We
Hey,
Ain't gonna lie. I used to love some Krispy Kreme donuts back in the day. Back when I used to run through Virginia, that was the only place to get them. To pull up through the drive-through in Virginia in Norfolk, Virginia. They used to come out fresh and hot right out the oven.
There's always too much ice. They's too sweet for me, man.
They roll it through there now. They just roll their sleeve up and roll out. Roll up, literally roll up, and then roll out.
That's crazy.
Guess they gonna sell a lot of beverages.
Yeah,
Crazy,
right.
Man. Crazy.
So on the more serious note, Mumia Abu-Jamal, who was a journalist in the Philadelphia Black Panther Party and all of that, and in prison for countless years behind a crime that he didn't commit. He's on his last right now, saying he's suffering from COVID and all type of other situations going on. And it's a campaign has gained new life in terms of him getting free or trying to get him out. What y'all think about that, man? Y'all think he going? I mean, I don't even know where to begin. Like, sometimes when I think about it,
The cold hard truth, man. Mumia probably gonna die in jail, bro.
right?
Yeah. The hardness of white folks won't let that happen. They consider him to be a cop killer. And you got some folks, man, that are callous. They're so hardened against black folks that letting him out, they rather die than let him out, man.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy to me, man. With the way the cops was killing black folks, man. That energy isn't returned.
Yeah.
But it can be exercised so viciously, so in such a determined fashion, in that direction.
Yeah.
Look like you was about to jump in there. My bad.
Yeah, I agree, man. We know the history of America, and for them, and when I say them, I'm just talking about white supremacists and American elite. That's a trophy, you know, for him to die in jail. For them, that's a trophy, you know. So,
Yeah.
you know, and Dre, we talked about that earlier. You know, just all the what led up to it. You know, the movements trying to get him out. You know, all that good stuff, and you know, just back again. We talked about another thing too, as far as you know, the folks in his camp being able to see that ahead of time that would be the outcome and pull a shot of secure. We talked about that. Because that's if you going out like that, you should follow that lead because you'll die in prison here. So you better pull Chicago, excuse me, Miss Shakur and get out of here. If you see that coming. Well, we talked about a lot of those things. We were just as far as wondering. You know what I mean? How, and whatever.
Last but not least, holding y'all breath for this George Floyd trial.
I actually think that the way things are shaping up, the little bit that I've seen, because I don't watch too much of it, man. But the little bit that I've seen, it looks like they're trying to position this as well, what it is. They're trying to position it as everything that I've seen. You got cops coming out against them. You got firefighters coming out against them. You got witnesses. So normally when you have cops and firefighters, professional white folks, if you will, coming out against them, but that's like the parade of, okay, it's going to be some type of justice or something. I don't know. That's what I'm seeing, though.
Yeah, I noticed that too. I noticed that because his supervisor testified today and said, "Yo,
you normally don't see that. You normally see that blue wall."
Yeah, you don't.
And I don't see any wall right now. It's almost like they putting him up. Here's your lamb.
Well, normally when it's a situation that they can't find a loophole in, they'll go ahead and offer him up as a sacrificial lamb, and they still might slap his wrist on the back end.
That's exactly, yeah.
You know what I mean?
So you gotta watch it all the way. But I think they might be a little cognizant of what may happen in these cities. If we have another situation where somebody's walking out of there with a big old smile at the killing of another black man. So they might be cognizant of the burning of the cities.
Yeah,
I think they are, and I think that they're very strategic with it, like both of y'all said.
Yeah.
I haven't been watching, but historically, I know how this goes. But to your point, because of the elevation and tension, the atmosphere, I think they'll be a little more strategic in this way, where like y'all just said, they're gonna perceive to offer him up. That's the perception, right? Then you smack their hand, and when I mean that by not so lightly, feet, but not as hard as we know it should be, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. That's what I see.
Then watch out for some leniency even after end.
Yeah, right? You're gonna have to follow that all the way through.
Right. See, because they get strategic with it. They talk about let this thing rest a couple years, let him sit, then bang, he out.
Yeah, you gotta watch that all the way. All the way through.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I see them following the usual procedure.
Yeah. So with that said, I'm definitely not holding my breath. You know what I mean? It ain't gonna be no shock value either way. Whatever they come with, I ain't.
Right.
I'm not.
They shot the shit out of me, Dred. If they hammering.
Yeah, I mean, again,
let me ask y'all this. Him getting hammered, what does that change?
Huh?
Him getting hammered, what changes? What does that change?
No, I didn't say it changed. I said that would shock the shit out of me.
No, I know you didn't. Yeah. I'm saying, but
it ain't changed. Ain't nothing on this thing gonna change. You're gonna bring that boy back.
Yeah, we talked about sacrificial lamb. So if you sacrificing somebody, ain't shit change.
Yeah, ain't shit gonna change. But since he's on trial, if they hammer his ass, I'd be shocked.
Yeah, it don't change nothing to answer your question though.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a feel good moment for some, and not so good for others. Which way that's going to ultimately fall, I don't know. But what I'm trying to say is the pestilence that the law enforcement has been performing on black folks is not going to change. You know what I mean? Whether they offer him up as a sacrificial lamb or not, I think the system needs to be attacked.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Speaking of systems, we're gonna get into a little bit of that, right?
I'm ready to roll.
Yeah,
I'm ready to roll.
Yeah.
As soon as Brahim come back in, we can get it popping. Brahim, he made okay, here we go. So Raheem made a statement yesterday that stuck with me. We gonna start there and build off of that. You said something about the difference between being raised on love versus being raised on survival.
Mm.
I think when I summarize my upbringing, I probably would have to say I was raised on survival. When I think about my mother's upbringing, I would have to say she was raised on survival. When I think about my father's upbringing, I always have to say he was raised on survival. When I think about my grandmother and my grandfather's upbringing, I would have to say they was raised on survival. So this has been a cycle that my family has been engaged in for quite some time. And I would like to think that the cycle ends with me. But then again, I know at least one of my sons, you know what I mean, as much love as I try to give them, sometimes people choose survival game. You know what I'm saying? So, I think that statement stuck with me, man, and that's a cycle that I wanna break in my own personal life. I wanna ask y'all, has it been different for y'all? Because I see the difference in people that are raised on love versus people that are raised on survival. People that are raised on survival, you develop a whole different level of strength and intuition. But people who are raised on love don't develop as many bruises and scars along the way. You know what I mean? So I want to start there. Let's start there, and let's start with Brahim. Let me get your thoughts on that.
Um, for me, it's definitely was raised on survival, man. I'm gonna just, in regards to my parent dynamic with uh, my mom was there, but a lot of it is she never, she would say some stuff. It was like, and me and my mom got a great relationship. We talk about a lot now, but just trying to understand as me as a grown man and me raising my children in a certain way. So one of the things we talked about is this my upbringing. And I would feel as though at times when I was younger that she was ashamed of like having us, or we got in the way of her dreams and stuff that she wanted to do. And it was never, acknowledged that, hey son, I love you, this and that. It was just like, one of those things, it's just rejection after rejection. And what it did for me in my relationships, it was like, even with women, it was I was looking for something in them, but I needed from my mom, basically. And so what was profound about that, it was literally, I will put you like, so that's that survival thinking is, let me put you through some shit to see if you're going to be there or not. Let me put you through all these hoops, because that's what I'm accustomed to in my past and stuff like that. So it was always, always looking at you sideways as like, what's your agenda? Who is this person when they come around? And so that's that survival mode where even with the trust factor plays a part into it. So, as far as, for my maturation process, I had to grow and recognize that within myself. And, but yeah, definitely survival mode, man. Definitely.
You feel like you're still in survival mode?
It's a good question. I'll say I recognize it. But how I parent my children, no. A lot of it is I tell them, how powerful it is. I let them know, hey, y'all 10 times better than what I was. I encourage them, I tell them all the time I love them. And it was crazy that I was talking to Mill, even just with my 13-year-old, man, 5'11". And I tell her she's lazy. She don't want to do anything. And like when we get into it, like if it was somebody else, we have a disagreement or whatever, in the past, I would isolate myself. And I was telling Mill about parenting. I'm like, it's crazy because no matter what my daughter do or go against the grain, I can't isolate myself, right? I can't take that out on her. Even if I'm right, I can't say, you know what, go through it. I got to circle back some way. I got to be creative. And that's hard because when you in survival mode, you know, you put your wall up. But when you got children, man, it's like one of those things, like when you know you're right, you still got to circle back because she might not circle back. And so, you know, and so I say I've grown in that part where I do recognize that as a flaw. But, you know, as I'm growing as a person, this and that, I showed them love. I showed them how I wanted to be treated. And so that's my way of, you know, really addressing that.
I think you said something very important, and that was recognizing it. I think the danger that comes with being in survival mode is when you don't realize you're in survival mode and why you're in survival mode. And so you have habits and behaviors that come with being in survival mode that if you don't have that, if you don't recognize it, then those habits can get the best of you. Like you said something that I can relate to, and that's isolating myself. You know, I still do that a lot today. You know what I mean? And it's the key to me getting my mind right. But then like you said, when you're around children, or even if you're around your woman, you know, they can take that a different way than how you might mean it. They receive it totally different. They look at it like you pushing them away or blocking them out. And that's not always the case. Anybody else want to touch on that?
Yeah, I want to add something. I just want to add like a story that kind of summarizes what we're talking about. Married 30 years, right? So got married young. So man, I got married at 21. Um, so I had a lot of those survival instincts that grew from the city, the concrete jungle. So my wife is a Southern girl, a Southern belle. So marrying her, I quite honestly can say was one of the best things that I've ever done, because what she has done is put her calm hands on me and made me just calm the fuck down. You know what I mean? Calm the fuck down. Right. Take your hat off in the house. Right. Take off your Timbs. Right. Put your slippers on. You know what I mean? You're in the house. You ain't in the street no more. Calm the fuck down. Put a smile on your face, because you eating ain't nothing. You ain't missing nothing. So just calm down. So once I finally accepted that, I went from survival, because that's kind of what you talked about, other nights. I kind of traced my history as well. Survival. So same makeup. But I can honestly say now, at this point in my life, I'm 52. I'm transitioning out of that lifestyle to a almost I'm promoting thriving. That's what I'm promoting, thriving. So I can honestly say that I'm blessed to where I'm not in that survival mode anymore. The only reason why I got my hat on, because all y'all got hats on. You know what I mean? So yeah, that's where I'm at, man.
That has to be a great feeling, man. I've felt it in moments in my life, but never on a whole. I still got that feeling like I'm in danger. I still got that feeling like it's a constant threat. You know what I mean? In terms of police, in terms of the world around me, you know, I still feel like one wrong move and I could lose everything. You know what I mean? Like I still feel like every day I gotta figure out how to stay in the game financially. You know what I'm saying? I still got all these things going on. I definitely look forward. You know, like I said, I've had moments sitting on the beach in Jamaica. You know what I mean? Things like that in the woods, and you know, on a whole, I haven't really felt that yet. I think just as a black man surviving in this country, in this world, man, you know, we're constantly reminded of of the threats around us. You know what I mean? Anybody else want to touch on that topic?
Definitely feel like I feel like I'm kind of fortunate actually, man. I think I was actually raised off of both. Um, in the sense that yeah, in the streets when you moving around, yeah, I'm definitely in survival mode, 100%. You know what I mean? But every time I walked into my house, man, it was love. And everybody houses that I frequented and went into, I experienced love. You know what I'm saying? So I was able to, kind of marry a happy balance in there. You know what I'm saying? And I guess it served me well. But the reality of living in this society, being raised in society, and being black is that if you're not in survival mode, then you're going to be a victim very soon. You know what I mean? So that's my take on it.
Oh, that's very well said. If you're not in survival mode, you're gonna be a victim. So it's kind of like we forced into that place.
Yeah,
And then when we start reaching certain levels of success, it's like Feek was saying, everything around us has changed. That same survival mode is still in us. We got to find that balance now. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
yeah,
yeah,
Yeah, I would concur and with Mill Sullivan. I think a lot of it with me has been uh, a duality, um, and sometimes by my choice, sometimes just by happenstance or what the environment entails. You know what I mean? I think I was raised primarily try to be raised in love, as dysfunctional as it may have been sometimes. It was his best effort, and I think I chose survival mode um, because of my disappointment and what I perceived it should be like for me in reference to relationships and what reality was sending out to me, and I'm rebellious towards authority in a good way, in a way when it's trying to manipulate and control. I've always had that. So I jumped in survival mode, head first, kinda because I seen it was necessary. I seen the other thing kind of was by itself, just alone was a fallacy. In reality, you had to deal with it, like Mill was saying. If you on it, if you ain't dealing with it, your head ain't on swivel, you're gonna be a victim. So I seen the necessary for it for me. So I just jumped in, and but I yearn. It's like Feek was saying, that I've had that, and you were saying those moments or those times where it's been peace and it's been calm, but it's like it's always a airy aura here in North America because of my understanding of where I am and what this is, over me that won't allow me to be off my, guard or thing. But like Raheem was saying, the joy I think we get out of it and stuff is when we can share those moments with the family in the midst of surviving, right? In the midst of having to be in that mode, and like Nas said earlier, we could recognize it and then we could kind of, adjust, you know what I mean? Because I think it's necessary if it's happening, but like Mill was saying, get that balance.
all right. So getting some kind of feedback. Is somebody got a fax machine or something running? Some type of.
Might be. I think I might. Let me see something. I'm gonna go mute. Tell me if you hear it.
Uh,
Yeah,
yeah,
that,
that's yeah. It's on your end. Yeah.
All right. Well, y'all go ahead. I'm gonna switch apparatus while I go ahead and get that thing because I've been having an issue. I'm glad you told me that. So
All
good.
right.
All right. I'm gonna need you probably to let me in on another device. All right.
No problem. No problem. So, Bri, I want to take a moment to get to know you better. So, to my understanding, you used to come through the shop back in the day when Ramil had the barbershop on the corner.
Yeah, man, that's humble beginnings. Hey, Mel, it's so crazy. Like, Mel knew me ever since I was a kid, man, baby, man, knew my family. And so it's like, looking at him, as a role model, close niche. But yeah, ever since, the beginning. And, Tom, I come to the shop, cut my hair, but we'd do a lot of talk shop. He would tell me things. I ain't never telling him this, but he reminded me of Furious Styles, man, or Boys in the Hood. And
that's
he was
love,
like that
bro.
person. Like if we talking about if my life, my life journey was a movie, man, that's the character I would reference him as, man. Very
Dude.
knowledgeable, was one of those people that would drop gems that I didn't truly soak up or have a full appreciation till I got older, but he was always dropping gems on me, man. His place was like a safe haven. And while we had this opportunity, like I told you, I acknowledge you behind the scenes, but publicly, man, just want to be able to tell you thank you for having you in my life, man. And so it's just coming full circle now that everything, throughout my journey, the man that I became, a lot of it is, I thank you for your influence as well. And so, yeah, so just again, cut my hair at time, I was messed up, man, I need a cut. I got you, young, and come through. I'll pay you back later sometimes. And, just this being a role model figure for me, man, paid off dividends, man.
I second that notion. Absolutely. I got hair all the way down to my back, man. And I wasn't even into getting haircuts, and I've been sat in the barbershop many hours. I'm thinking I might even had seen you there before. But I sat in the barbershop many hours with Mill, man, countless hours, man, just because the vibe was how it needed to be, man. You know what I mean? Like as men, as black men, it's like we talked about survival mode. It's like everywhere we go, we got to constantly be in that mode. Going to the barbershop and spending time with Mill was an opportunity to let that guard down and to just to build and to grow. You know what I mean? As men. So yeah, I second that notion, man, and I appreciate Mill just the same, man. So yeah, thank you, Mill. Word.
Gratitude to both of y'all, man.
Word. So
Y'all
on
don't,
that note,
let me say this: what y'all don't know is how much y'all was helping me.
yeah.
You know what I mean? Real rap.
But Mel, look, I don't know what you can do for me now. I got a body, man. So your services is no longer needed, my friend.
Welcome to the club. Welcome to the club. Absolutely, man.
So on that note, Brock, is the streets a myth?
Oh man, it's unfortunately, man, it's a lot of our realities, man. Some people, that reach a certain level of success, man, it was like a stepping stone, man. And it's interesting. So it ties back into the survival mode, right? And so for me, a lot of my family, I was exposed to that, and you taught to conduct yourself a certain way. So, same way, like if with the police department, you got the blue wall of silence, the same way, like it's a certain code that you live by. And, I was, conditioned to think, hey, never let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, right? Fair exchange is no robbery, whatever you do, you can't, even what I see with a lot of young people today, and I'm slightly deflecting, but you get on this social media and you like telling on yourself, you telling your moves and all of that I never, it's just crazy to me. And so just being mindful about self-incriminating, but no, it's a real thing. And what's crazy is, so it's a twofold to that. I'm college educated. I'm a first generation college student. And it's like, they respect people more. I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but from my experience, they respect you more when you come home from jail. Oh, you a real nigga, you did 10, come home, it's love, it's a party. You go to college, you ain't really celebrated. You ain't really the idea of being respected. And it's crazy, where you grew up. And so with me, I'm from South Philly, and my origins, I grew up 13th Street Project, family in 5th Street projects, Tasker, the name of Chester, like all these things. So Bloomberg, North Philly. And so I got family from all over, but it's just like, it's like a certain respect. And as I'm thinking about it, I'm looking at it from a bird's eye view, even with the street culture, you know, with women and this and that, it's like more of a thrill, a sexy thing. It's like, even when you're dealing with women, you know, they be like, oh, you know, oh, he got money because you associate yourself with the street mentality and this and that, or it's a certain level of thrill that comes with that. And so, but it's definitely a real thing, man. It's definitely a real thing. For some people, that's all he got, man.
All right, so that's an interesting take on it. I want to share this clip that really describes or defines why I keep asking the question, "Are the streets a myth?" Because to me, my summary is that the streets are a myth. Quoting the young boy that got the song out, "The streets is a myth." What's the boy name? Can't think of his name right offhand. Troy Ave. But yeah, so I'm gonna show this clip and then we'll build off of this clip real quick.
That's a trip still. You know, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it at all.
What happened to
All right, take it over, fellas. Yeah.
Time's out, Dre. Y'all see that? Oh, what happened?
Yeah, did he get knocked out?
Look like it. Feet going too. Oh, they were feet.
Yeah. With Dre, he got.
Yeah, we might be having some internet issues.
Yeah, because I think he had to let himself back.
Oh, he back.
Did I lose the connection or something?
Yeah,
Whole thing went out?
whole
Whole
thing.
thing went out. It froze and then went out.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so basically, I'll summarize it. Basically, that was a movie that Sunrod did back in the day, and he played the part of a extraterrestrial that came down to Earth to recruit young people to go to a planet where there was only black people and they would live in peace. And so he came down to the youth and said that he told them, "I'm a myth," but he said, "Y'all a myth too." He said, "Y'all don't have no identity." You know what I'm saying? He was like, "Y'all don't have no power, no place in this society, so that makes you a myth." And the reason why I consider the streets to be a myth because it is very real, the cultural aspects, the code, and all of that. My thing is that black people had all of that before this concept of the streets that we've allowed ourselves to be conditioned to become loyal towards. All those things that you said, don't let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, and all of that. We always had a code of conduct amongst ourselves. And so I think when we attribute these things to the streets, then you throw in the idea of the black market and money and all of that, and it gives life to something that's really non-existent. You know what I mean? The streets is literally nothing more than the land that was taken away from our ancestors. But it's been glamorized and glorified to the extent that it's been given a personality that doesn't really exist.
And I guess it exists in the form of when we talked about before how some things have to be present for us to stay in the condition we in, right? That myth has to be has to has to take on a reality or some type of form, right, Dred?
Right.
For to keep us in the condition because it's necessary. We talked about like everything that we suffer from, all the maladaptive characteristics are necessary. And like to your thing with that, we say with that street culture, because those codes, those way of life we've always had. We urbanized it. We came up north, like you say. Hence, we give birth to the streets, and we bring on some other stuff with it. But yeah, I get where you're going exactly with that because we give it life. It has no life without us, you know.
I think it's a product of the redlining too, man. They put us all in one area, man, in each city.
Absolutely.
So everybody right here. So you got everybody migrating up from the south, right? Going to one particular area. And back in those days, what people were we was warehoused in those areas, man.
Pretty much.
What comes to mind is crabs in a barrel, man. So we all in this section, everybody fighting for a piece of free, right? You know what I mean? And so what's gonna happen is we become tribal. Within our own areas, we become tribal. You know, we start knocking each other off, and that's what we've been doing. We ain't even been, we don't only have like the moments of clarity to say, you know what, you ain't my enemy over here, man. That's my enemy over here. Let me go get, you don't even have that clarity, man.
Yeah, we've had it in pockets, yeah, but you're right.
Yeah.
The whole, and you're right, you know, they place us in the spots. What they say, the government's doing a project. So I live in the projects.
Yeah, man.
Right?
I want to add to Mel, if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
So what's interesting is that when you talk about, you know, myth, you know, a personal story is, you know, I think a key piece that we need to really, you know, discuss is exposure. And, you know, I was privileged, you know, I played basketball and I was able to have an opportunity to go outside of my environment with my skill set. And I shared this yesterday. What's interesting is that's all I knew. So if you limit it based off your experiences, if that's all you know, if that's the way of life, you know, you become accustomed to that. And even with my family dynamic, I used to think that was all my family. When we had family functions, everybody arguing, everybody fighting. I got family members that live on the same block, won't acknowledge each other, won't speak to each other. How you have family members, first cousins, you know, just that lifestyle. So if that's all you limited to, then it is a reality. But for me, once I went to school, you know, people that I looked up to, that I gravitated towards, and you know, and it was you know, that was getting money, that as I thought, you know, when it was time for me to, I took the 2-year route, community college at first. I went to Dell Tech, and I gotta say this, it was interesting is the first lady, Dr. Jill Biden, was my teacher. She was a writing teacher at the time, and she stepped down for, you know, Obama administration, but I went there and I had to get a Sallie Mae loan. And what's interesting is I went to all my family, yo, I need you to co-sign, for me to go to school. Nobody couldn't help me out. Credit messed up, everything going on. And so at that time, I couldn't have nobody help me out. And somebody in particular, you know, was always flashy, had all the money, had all the latest cars, couldn't even help me out. And I couldn't understand it. And I had a friend of the family, what feet say, the clear people. Lady helped me out. She was a corporate lawyer, brought me down, you know, was like, hey, I'm helping you out. You know, I believe in what you're doing. So I had to go down. I sat down with the loan officer, and they had basically had to go through her accounts. And the one account, she had like over 100,000, another one over 88, another one for like 40. And I'm just sitting here and like, mind you, my whole world was like shook. Like, I'm just saying like, it don't make sense. And I'm sitting here like, yo, how is it? And at the time when I was referencing just material things, she was driving like this 96 Volvo, a box car, man. wasn't appealing at all. Like, and it shook my whole reality because I'm like, what's going on? How does this lady that drive this Volvo got over 300,000 in the bank, sitting lovely, where I got somebody else that's showy, you know, I obviously went 300,000, but the critter Lord that I'm getting the money and I got a certain lifestyle, but can't help me. And so that moment, you know, being exposed to different stuff, going outside of my community, because that's when you start realizing, yeah, it's a myth. I had a young brother, it was so crazy. I'm talking to him and respectfully, like I had people around me, we was talking about traveling. And, you know, with me, I had, you know, and I told him about Amtrak. He was like, what's Amtrak? And everybody else was looking like they started laughing. And I had to come back and like, and I told him, I'm like, don't laugh at him. But if that's all you know, some people ain't never go out South Philly, some people ain't go out North Philly. And that's real shit. And that's reality when that's all you know. But when you get to a certain point, a level of conscience, you see like, yeah, it is a myth. So it go both ways. It go both ways.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah, I kind of see it as just what Brahim just said, man. You know, it's a myth to some, and it's a bona fide reality to the others, man. You know what I mean? So I guess that's what keeps it perpetual. And again, exposure. You know, exposure changes your perception, man. You know, well, the only thing I can really add to that is that, you know, like my mom's never really wanted me to be a neighborhood kid, man. So I didn't go to school in the neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? I had friends in the neighborhood, but you know, I went to school, man, way out in the counties, man, all over the damn place, man. So I was exposed to different types of lifestyles at a very young age. You know what I mean? So I always knew it was the difference, man. So I understand what you're saying about the myth part. You know, that's the hook, though. You know what I mean? That's the hook, because for some people, it's a fucking reality.
But one thing about a myth is that based on perception and perception alone, a myth can become a reality. It's like
Exactly.
Jesus, like Jesus Christ. It can be, you know, depending on how deep you are into your studies, it can be argued that Jesus is a myth. You know what I mean? That Zeus, the god of lightning, is a myth. You know what I'm saying? But for some people, that can become a bona fide reality, the point where they'll kill behind it, die behind it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That kind of
And like,
reminds me of the Willie Lynch letter, man, ironically, in some kind of twisted
Ah,
way.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Which is rumored to be pure myth. You know what
right.
I'm
And like
saying?
most myths, it has an element of truth in there.
Yeah, indeed. The fallout of it is what we you know, some of what we're talking about today.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know
And
what I
that's the
mean?
whole twist.
So at that
Absolutely.
point, it doesn't matter whether it's a myth or not. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I like to come back to Brahim's point about you know, that light bulb moment. I think at points in our lives we have those moments, man, where a light bulb just kind of goes off and you're like, whoa, what is going on? So my light bulb moment came when we moved up Southwest for like 3 years. I came back to South Philly, but when I moved up to Southwest, now it's still a neighborhood up there. Pascal was like Tasker, and we lived like on the street off side of Pascal, right? But out that way you had Penrose, right? So going out to Penrose, man, for me was I ain't never seen black people live like that, man. Because I'm from South Philly. I'm from Tasker. I thought everybody was living like surviving. So I go out to Penrose, man. Them houses out there, black people making money, pulling up in Benzes and stuff. I was like, oh, this can be done.
Yeah.
So that was my light bulb moment. I was like, whoa. And then I was dating this young lady that lived out in Overbrook. The houses out in Overbrook are huge.
Yeah, I got some stories about that.
Man.
We
So,
are.
so, so I'm
You
looking,
know
and
what I'm talking about.
these black people.
Yeah.
So that was my light bulb moment to say that, hey, everybody ain't living like this.
Yeah.
You got some people that's living a little bit differently,
Right.
And you know, from that point on, man, I was like, listen, I can do this. You know what I mean? That dude don't look no different than me.
Right.
He did.
I
I could
mean,
do
so that was my light bulb moment, man.
Yeah, for me, like I said, my aunt, was one of the first people that moved into Penrose. You know
Okay.
what I mean? And ironically, one of the schools that I went to was in Overbrook Park. So my great grandma lived on 63rd and Jefferson. You understand
Yeah.
what I'm saying? So like, like I said, I was lucky, man. Like I got exposed to different things. I just maybe didn't make the most solid choices down the long stretch. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean the point that I think is being made is that no matter where you come from, no matter how humble or meager your beginnings are, man, that you can get to another level. You can get to that next level. You know what I mean? And somewhere in here tonight, man, I know we're gonna start sharing some strategies, some truths about doing that, man. So, I'm very anxious. I got my pen in my pad. I'm going to school tonight.
Hey,
Perfect.
hey, Brahim, I like what you brought to the table though initially that sparked that whole piece with that exposure. Because to me, that seemed like to be the common thread
Yeah.
in all the things, because
Right.
you only can do or kind of duplicate that which you've been around or exposed to, and they say the environment is stronger than willpower.
Hmm.
That's reasons to Feek's point earlier, I think, why they put us in the urban environment and trap us like the crabs in the barrel, you know. But
It makes a fertile hunting ground.
absolutely. But the key is when you get that mental environment or your habitat right, it don't matter where the physical at, then you can transform that, right? And that's what we talking about tonight.
Exactly.
You know,
Absolutely, man.
just in conclusion on the topic of the streets, I think, definitively the lines are blurred now. I was listening to the Breakfast Club the other day, and Charlemagne was talking about the Kardashians, and he was saying, the Kardashians, they out here in these streets. You know what I mean? Now the term is just used to, to, to associate with anything that's
But
ratchet or
Yeah.
devious. You know what I mean?
Yep.
but that's the
It's,
spin move.
it's,
That's the street life is the hook. But now the application of it becomes the spin move, man. We talked about that last week. As a matter of fact, man, what it meant to be a street nigga, man, and it has to be some kind of nefarious, negative attachment to being from the streets.
right.
You know what I mean? Which I think is crazy because all us
So
from the streets. You know what I mean?
what's interesting in it? Oh, go ahead, Mel.
No, I'm done.
No, what's interesting is this twofold though. It can work both ways because, and I was waiting to see if somebody was going to touch upon it because it's still the mindset like for my dynamic with my children, it's the first generation of privilege. And what I've noticed is people don't respect people that ain't get it from the idea. I'm just generalizing that you ain't get it from the mud. Like that you ain't get it from a certain place because there was no work ethic. And it's like, and it was crazy, Mill. And we was talking about this when we was talking about the Atlanta compromise and when we was talking about Booker T. Washington, right? Versus Du Bois. So the thing was, you mentioned your choice of words was with Booker T. Washington. His education was bestowed upon him, and it was given, but in the fashion that's a lot of today. They not respecting people that if I pass on, and when we get into like generational wealth, you didn't earn that. That was given to you. So people don't have a full appreciation because when you're in survival mode, that's the first thing they think about. And I see that a lot. And when it comes down, and I'm in a space now, damn, it made me the man that I am, but I really had to go through all them hoops, man, to get to a certain point. But why do I got to go through that, right? And so it goes both ways too. And I realized that around a lot of people where it's a respect factor. You ain't get it from the mud and X, Y, and Z. So I definitely wanted to shed light on that too. So
That's a good point, man, because that point is even twofold. Because like you say, in a sense, you want to get that grit in, but in a sense, some of it you feel like it's not necessary. So that's a fine line. Yeah. And then two, I like get your point about the generational wealth being handed down. I think like we still got to put the children maybe through some other type of dynamic. You know what I mean? That's constructive for them. They don't have to go through the same thing because they ain't living at the same time, but they should go through something, right? Because you want them, their goal is to maintain and build on that. So you're gonna have to have some kind of grip for that. My grip was to get it, right? I had to be built a certain way to get it. You gotta be built a certain way to maintain and add on to it.
Mm-hmm.
I want to add to that too. I definitely feel what Brahim is saying because I'm similar in a way where I'm not going to say I'm first generation college, but in terms of like out of my siblings and whatnot, I'm the oldest. So I kind of like paved the way to do something different, you know, out of my siblings. So I left the nest early. I left at 19. You know, I went to Air Force. I just kind of shot out. I needed to do something. That's part of my personality. But in terms of forging the way and building the path, I kind of done that, and it was hard. Let's be honest, it was hard, you know, because you don't have a parachute. I'm out there without a parachute. You know, that's how I live my life. You know, so when I look at somebody that's that has a parachute, there is a tendency to go like that. But you got to think about how are they living their lives as well. Now, if you see them reaching down to pull up others, then that's different. And that's what I think children do. If we forge that path like Brahim talked about, and now we're living in a better way, if we don't have our hand out and pulling somebody else up, then yeah, that's your children are looking at you. I've said it many times. They watch us and they watch your moves. They don't really watch what you say as much as they watch your moves. So if you reaching down to pull people up, guess what? They learning. They are actually learning. It doesn't have to be through the mud. They watching you help people, pull people up, get up off the ground, do whatever you got to do. And it gives them that idea that, okay, I need to help people too. So they start living their lives a different way as well. So that's what I think anyway.
Yeah, I can't really add too much more than that. What you said, what Vu said, what Bra said, is some of the most profound shit I've heard in my life, man. Like, you know what I mean? We're put here to help others.
Yeah.
Put here to, there's no true strength without the collective, man. You know what I'm saying? And if we just trying to be king of the hill, man, doesn't matter how big the hill is, or that you're king of it. You know what I mean? It's a lot more going on in the valley, man. You know what I'm saying? So to speak. So I really can't add nothing to what y'all just put out there, man. I just hope people listening.
Yeah.
Talk to me, Brahim. Talk to me about some of the things that you have done and that you're doing now that have allowed you and continue to allow you to evolve beyond the myth of the streets.
I think ultimately at first is very important. I took a chance on myself. It's like the black sheep of the family, in the sense of I went against the grain, their way of thinking, our customs, our beliefs. And, I had a lot of people around me that projected their own fear into me. And, I will always come and I always say crazy ideas, but it wasn't crazy. But they're like, no, you shouldn't do that. Or what if it goes wrong and all these things. And it kept me content for a while. And finally took a chance on myself. And so me taking a chance on myself allowed me to establish, financial stability or financial freedom at this point where, I made investments into multiple businesses. And what currently, one of the things I'm most passionate about is my legacy in regards to helping people. And so in 2013, I created an organization called Science to the Max. And Science to the Max is basically an educational enterprise that uses animation, cartoon characters, storytelling, and interactive learning to teach and encourage science for children ages 4 through 13. And it was so crazy is it started out with my relationship with my daughter. One day we was watching SpongeBob. So anybody that's familiar with SpongeBob, you know SpongeBob don't teach you anything. And my daughter was young at the time. So I'm like, when I heard Patrick say something crazy, I'm like, turn it off. And how my tone was, she got real emotional. And so me trying to circle back as a parent, I'm like, listen, baby girl, you know, trying to break it down like SpongeBob don't teach you anything, but she's still, her mood's still down. So I'm like, how about we create our own cartoon? And at the time, I went to an education firm at Drexel like 2 weeks prior, and they was talking about the underrepresentation of minorities in STEM, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. And they was talking about the underrepresentation of it. And it put me when I was doing labs in college. I'm like, the problem is, I remember it took me back to a place like, yo, it was dope. It was fun when we was hands-on doing experimentation. And so at the time when I'm thinking about a cartoon figure, that form stuck with me. I said, yo, what if I create a science character that's, you know, that's appealing? And I love fashion. So I'm like, I went to my graphic designer. I said, listen, make his lab coat stylish, you know, what people want to wear, make him cool, you know. And he gave me my trademark logo. Fast forward from that idea, you know, 8 years later, you know, at first we was just trying to create a cartoon, but we seen the need for it in the classroom. And so not only that, you know, we have that concept, but now we have a curriculum that we license to school districts nationally, where we have supplemental products, where we have programs in the schools, where we have strong partnerships, and all of that originated from an idea. And so, yeah, man. And so I would consider myself, because I wear a lot of hats, just a serial entrepreneur. You know, a lot of it is when we talk about getting into, you know, establishing wealth is, you know, having multiple streams. And, you know, I was blessed to have an opportunity to experience this. So
What was it like getting through that first, because it's some fear. Anything new is a fear element. And I think a lot of us don't break through that fear. Like you said, you had some family members kind of naysay on you and whatnot, put their fears on you about, you know, your ventures. And so what was it like breaking through that, man?
it was frustrating. See, with me, I didn't know how to really grasp everything. I'm still young. As far as me, I had the vision, but intellectually, you know, I wasn't able to really grasp because I didn't know where that was coming from. And so, you know, when people telling you, oh, if it don't work, it put me in a situation where now I got to run past my ideas in front of everybody. What you think about this? I need a validation at this point because those fears was projected. And after a while, man, when I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do it. And was different and Drag can attest to this, even in education. When I first started out, you know, when I was trying to get into these institutions, because I didn't really know what I was talking about, I had the idea, I was passionate, but they feel that. So the first thing they say, what's your background in, right? What's your background in? It's like this cult, man. It's like literally this circle. And a lot of that is like, you know, as I've grown and took a chance and like it really worked. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go a step further. When I took a chance on myself, I still didn't know what science to the max, how big this can be, where it can affect people and really influence and change lives. When I went to a forum called a Young Innovators Fair, and it's basically a week-long event, and they had over like 30,000 people in attendance. And at the time you had Princeton STEM, Lego, all the big STEM organizations, and they was white. And even at that function, it was at Greater Oaks Expo Center. And it was probably about 5% black folks, but you got everybody of Jewish, white, and all these different people that don't look like us. What's crazy about it is I don't wear a lab coat. When I was in classroom teaching, I didn't wear a lab coat. I wore a lot of our products. I had like a black hoodie on. At the time, at that event, I had this black hoodie on. So I was like a stereotype. I got my beard, black hoodie, but it was like my Max logo on there. And what's crazy is I'm providing the instruction, and I look up and I see it was a line, and everybody was gravitating towards our table. And I had a white counterpart that did similar work to what we was doing, based in New Jersey. Didn't matter. Everybody was at our table. That's when I knew. That's when I knew what we had, and that's when I stopped seeking validation, man. And when you going against this type of people that's questioning your background, it can become scary. But with me, and it's important for me to say this, I'm a natural risk taker. I'm a risk taker. All this stuff about the fear and all, I don't get into that. I'm gonna do it. I learned how to fail forward. And so I took a chance on myself. Even, I was gonna fall, I was gonna get back up. And even the thing is, and I'm gonna end it on this, with children. That's who I service. When a baby is born, and when they get up and try to walk, they can fall 50 times, but I ain't never heard a baby since this day again. And I've been around for a little bit and say, you know what, maybe this ain't for me, dog.
I like
Baby walking ain't for me. You got it, bro. It ain't for me. They keep trying, and we lose sight of that because of society, man. But yeah, man, that's my spill on it.
I like it.
Ask you, what do you think was one of your main, I guess you say, attributes to help you just continue through even when it was difficult?
I'm a very ambitious person. I'm a natural, I'm just inquisitive. I ask a lot of questions. But I think my will, man, because, and it's important, goes back to the family dynamic. I grew up on disappointment. And so a lot of that is, I couldn't get excited. Only thing I could just focus on the work. And I say this in a lot of my speeches, my imagination saved my life, man. Like I was telling Mill earlier, it's funny, when I was working a 9 to 5, put my suit, I used to really use my imagination, think I was a CEO of a company, man. Like, I'm about to go through this, do my thing in the boardroom. I was going to a meeting I didn't want to go to, but I seen it in my mind. And I think that's my greatest gift, is my vision and the way how I see stuff, where when I'm thinking about an idea, not just the idea conceptually, but I'm able to touch it. I know what the temperature is in the room, all these things. And so from there, I understand it's power in that. And so, the computer that we on today, the Zoom and all that came from my idea. Then it started, manifesting. So I think my greatest attribute is my vision.
Yes, that's awesome. That's awesome. You have to be able to see it, in order to make it happen. That's for certain.
Oh man, powerful, bro. Powerful.
Talk to me about some of the business investments that you briefly touched on. Talk to me about some of the business investments that you made that helped you to get to where you are now.
So I invested into a young lady, shout out to Bambi Lifestyle, with the hairline industry, with products, a shop. And that's a cash on hand business. And it was an opportunity that I thought was interesting, because one thing about women, they want their hair done, man. And so I seen it as an opportunity, and so I jumped in front of it. I believed in this young lady. I did, and I wanted to be a part of it. And so, I made an investment. And then you got fashion. A lot of these things that my friend I went to college with, he came to me about a concept. I fell in love with it because it was the way that is the things that I wear, do travel, business-wise and everything. So I made an investment into that as well. And it's actually growing. So I probably 3 years in, and we able to yield, some revenue from it. And so it's paying off for me. And then here in Phoenix, the cannabis industry, man. What Hov say? I'm selling weed in the open.
Yes, sir.
What's interesting is, and that's another story with, mass incarceration, a lot of people getting locked up, the irony, for like cannabis and stuff in the past, and now, legalizing it. But, I learned early on, work smarter, not harder. And so, a lot of people risk their lives, man, that have an opportunity like this. And I had some resources in play, and I made the investment for a grow homes out here, man. And I don't need to tell you, the revenue that can be generated from that. But that and also the foundational piece is real estate, residential. My goal is, I'm transitioning into commercial REITs, but, start off with just sheriff sales, buying property. Like right now in Cleveland is a hot market. You can get a duplex right now easily for $10,000, man. Sheriff sales, public information, man. And I encourage everybody to just check it out. Another market, Michigan right now, Detroit is wide open. Baltimore, and I bring this up about the real estate, man, is back then, they had dollar programs in our own backyard, man. Dollar programs, man, dollar programs. And and for me, if I had the resources back then, I would have took full advantage. But real estate, that's the foundational piece to really, establishing wealth. And so those four right now is where I'm heavily involved in. But yeah, so.
As an educator, talk to me about the process of from the point of conceptualizing a curriculum, putting it together, putting it in writing, making it tangible, and getting to the point where it's distributed nationwide for classrooms around the country.
Hey man, look, it's crazy, man. So this maturation process. I mean, when I first started out, I was between what we were still on. We were just jumping out there. And I remember I used to get so excited when we was on the Boys and Girls Club radar, the YMCA radar. And I was willing to give them the whole thing, huh? Y'all want me? Our program? Huh? You ain't even look, I ain't even gonna charge you. And I was just excited because again, validation, didn't understand what we had. So my curriculum wasn't intact. But what I noticed was my niche was my ability to engage young people. And at first, we used to have our mascot with us. Matter of fact, I got my mascot right here. We on the podcast, baby.
To the back.
And so we used to bring the mascot around, and with mascots, kids love them.
Right.
And so at the time, I didn't have nobody to jump in the mascot. I took on these contracts, but I still got to render these services. And when I realized, and it was crazy, without Max, they still was going crazy. Everybody raising their hand. And I'm like, yo. And so once I started getting with corporations on their radar, it was a shift because I had a business to business model. But everything they didn't care about, what I noticed is they didn't care about how passionate I was. They felt it, they allowed me and have an opportunity to speak to them, but all they kept pressing and I didn't understand was, what's the outcomes?
Numbers.
What's the stats behind it? I'm like,
yeah, with the numbers.
And I'm just out here, trying to do right by these kids and what are you talking about, these outcomes? And And so I took a step back. And what's interesting is, mind you, we got the hottest thing right now, because what I found with teachers, the inability to engage kids, I don't know, that's the craziest thing to me. Stephen, no, so I'm gonna use South Philly, Salvation Army, right there on our block. It's the first time kids ever been exposed to science, man. And you know how our young people is in South Philly, you know how they get. I go in there, do my demonstration, man. I got it on video. They going crazy. You think I'm giving away Jordans? Mm-hmm. How crazy they wanted to, get involved with the experiment piece. Mm-hmm. So when I took a step back, I said, at the time, I got like 20,000 followers with my Science to the Max page. But when I start getting in these rooms, I'm like, why the Boys and Girls Club only got 300 followers? Why the YMCA only got, 800? I'm popping right now. I didn't understand it, but they control all the money. Yeah. And so from there, another aha moment, they bring me in. I didn't understand Title I funding, federal money, grants at the time. They bring me in, do a great job. I can actually promise my success at this point. I know what's the expectations at this point. So I remember one time, I ain't going, I still deal with some people, so I can't even name drop. But I remember one organization, like, yeah, we're going to have somebody audit your program. Me, okay. Okay, didn't understand it. Okay, come in, see the review. Love it, love the program. Have a mentor in play, start showing me everything. That organization got $2.5 million for STEM education. I'll call it for what it is. They leveraged my program. Yep. Subcontracted me for my little peanuts. Yep. Paid their director, their staff salary based off what I've done. And so I said, you know what? I got you. It's cool. Right. You know better, you do better, right? And so from there, I took a step back. I got other educators involved, hired some consultants. And so moving forward, having a brick and mortar, having a program, having supplementary products. And now, but I think the piece is having an outcome-based organization that yield results. And so we shifted from not only do we get you excited about learning, but you actually retaining the information. So when we be able to show 11% increase in scores, if you implement a 5-week program, and we provide benchmarks now, we do a pre-test, we do a post-test to be able to start measuring success, it was a game changer for us. So now I don't get excited no more. So when I go into a room, if we talk about corporate, I don't even talk about my program. They already got they got the website, they got the proposal. When I go in there, it's a simple question. How many people do y'all want to impact? And if our core values in the line, then it's a price point to that. When I go into classrooms, when I go in these districts, now I understand that I'm doing my research. Now I know on a 4th grade level, when they do, PSSA, I know where they scored that, if they're below a certain level, if they're proficient or not. So my conversation is, yeah, we're the solution to your problem. If you implement a program like this, we can increase the scores. So it changed my whole dynamic, man, just going through that journey. And what I will say is these last 8 years, it just been a journey of learning more than anything. It was no mistakes, it just was a journey of learning.
So here's something I think is very important, brother. How old are you, Brahim?
Man, in the spirit or in the flesh?
In the flesh, because it's important, man. It's very important, man. Because 32, you just dropped a whole lot in that piece you just did. And you've talked about your journey. we gave some stuff that was done that they said, okay, we're gonna use you, and you learn from it in 8 years' time. So I'm looking at you, you look like you're about mid-30s. So you started as a young man learning all this. So the important piece I'm trying to say is that you've been on this journey as a young man doing all these things. You just completely stamped out your fear and just said, let's go. And it's important for people to see that. It's important for people to hear that.
Even with your point, and I think it's important for everybody. Again, in education is different because just imagine back in the day, mind you, I ain't got no background in education at the time. Black man with a beard. I think I had a beard at the time. No, I don't think I had a beard, but black man.
Bro, you had a beard since
I had a beard.
12.
I had a beard. Bill said it. Bill said it. I had a beard. Look, I'm just thinking about what if I went to a scientist or somebody like, yo, I'm gonna teach science for a living, man. Can you imagine the feedback I'm getting? Like, what? You ain't got no background in it. You ain't the Franklin Institute of the world. You know how much negativity I would have got if I just listened. No, man. I jumped, and I think the important piece is learning to fall in love with the process and also having a full appreciation with failing forward. Because again, it goes back to that baby. Just think about that baby.
There you go.
That baby getting up, fall 49, getting up the 50th time. They not worrying about it. They not seeking validation. They gonna do. And that's its power in doing. So yeah, that's that.
Oh man. Powerful, bro.
Man, yeah. Can I shift gears here for a little second? I got a question for the Dread, Ellen Nas. And I want to ask you from your experience in in the school district, man, and working with children, man. I know what kind of impact you had. What would you do differently, man, if you got a second run at it?
Oh man, everything. I guess that's why we only get one shot because it got to go the way it's meant to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
I probably a lot of good things probably wouldn't have happened because I would be operating totally different, man. Like I said, about being a risk taker. A lot of the positive things that I accomplished came from taking risks. It came from breaking rules. It came from being different. It came from sometimes not giving a fuck. I mean, giving a fuck enough to not give a fuck. You feel what I'm saying?
I understand completely. I understand completely.
So, if I could do it all over again, the whole process would have went totally different, man, because I would have played it safe every step of the way.
I didn't expect that. And I tell you, my question is based on because I know your impact. I know your work. I know what you were doing, and I've often told you, to Brahim's point about starting systems and stuff like that, man. I always thought that you were how do you say it? Light years ahead of the schools. The stuff that you were implementing, the things that you were doing, are actually kind of like the blueprint that they're operating off of right now.
I saw it on 60 Minutes.
Yeah, and I got to witness that firsthand. You know what I'm saying? So I guess ultimately, man, I just want to give you props for that, man. Who you are, bro.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
One thing though, from a more practical perspective, I wasn't thinking about getting rich off of it or getting wealthy. I totally, in order for me to accomplish the things that I accomplished, I knew I wanted to make a living, but I didn't have the mindset of how to leverage it into wealth. I didn't even see that as being a possibility, really. You know what I mean?
Right.
So to see somebody younger than me coming up in the same vein, doing the exact same things, applying the same formula, but with more of a vision of wealth attached to it, I probably would have, from a more practical perspective, I can say that I probably would have opened my mind up a little bit more to that. But again, that might have distracted me from accomplishing the things that I was doing because I really dug down in the dirt with my approach. You know, I really dug into the trenches, and I just put everything else out of my mind and just went for the gut. I saw a problem, and I saw that it wasn't a lot of black men in the educational system. You know what I mean? And I saw a serious problem the moment I walked in the door, and I just felt like the energy I was able to channel a certain energy that could contribute to bringing some type of balance. And so I just opened myself up to being a channel and just made it a part of my spiritual journey and just went from there.
Yeah, I can honestly say, man, I witnessed somebody throwing you a oop and you dunking the shit out that motherfucker, bro. And I just don't think you got the accolades that you deserve for that.
Word. Well, yeah, I mean, and again, that's kind of like what Brahim was saying. Like,
Exactly, it's exactly what he was saying.
yeah, for me, there wasn't a lot of validation. There wasn't a lot of accolades. I wasn't looked at aside from the young people, parents such as yourself. I wasn't really looked at like the administration didn't. I wasn't appreciated. You know, I mean, there were. Don't get me wrong. There were people that appreciated me, but they were people that understood. But, from the higher ups and all of that, I was looked at as rogue, as a maverick. You know what I mean? It wasn't. When you going in. I mean, but see, then the flip side to the coin is this: when I go into a school and it's complete chaos, and I'm able to contribute to the order of the environment, like Brahim was saying, when you produce some results, then people can't really argue with you or stop you. And that's what opened up the doors for me, is that I was able to produce results. So even people that was looking at me like, yo, who is this guy? What is, what I mean? They couldn't argue against the results. And that's what kind of got me in a lot of doors, got me, I sat down at a lot of business tables and all of that, man, opened up a lot of doors, man. Even most recently, I this is something I kept quiet, but I joined the educational advisory board for the Grammys because the Grammys were opening up museums. Here in Jersey, they opened up a museum and they called together an advisory board, which was kind of dope because, it was all kind of people in there. I saw people that were known rappers, people that had nonprofit organizations. The reason why I brought that up is because one of the things that I saw as I started moving up was that the money was being controlled by people that didn't look like us, man. And mostly by white women more than anything. They got the grant money game on lock. And and that's something that's really, really frustrating for me because it's like in order to get the smallest things accomplished, I feel like I gotta go such a long roundabout journey to get there. And I gotta prove myself people that no matter how much hop skipping and jumping I do, it's still, what I mean? It's a very frustrating process. So, I definitely respect Brahim in terms of achieving a point where, you tapping into the financial aspect of it and controlling the money. That's the next goal. I just set up a nonprofit organization as well. Something else I've been kind of keeping quiet as I've been building it up for young intellectuals and just learning the process of getting the grant money and all of that. But like I said, they don't make it simple. It's very complex and very complicated. Not necessarily in just the intellectual way, but just in a way to only allow certain people to have access to it. So it's a code that you got to crack. So yeah, Raheem is light years ahead of his time, but right on time at the same time, because cracking that code is not simple. It's not easy, especially when you're dealing with education, because they really don't want us to have access to educating our own youth.
Yeah.
Not be profitable for their society.
Well, let's talk about that. Let's talk about cracking the code. These systems, and because that's the only way, man. We're gonna clear up this wealth gap, this education gap. We got to put some systems together to start putting our hands out to help some other people up, man. We got to talk about that, man.
One of the things I learned recently with one of my most recently educational programs, I worked with a company similar to what the brother was saying, man. It's a hurt piece when you see a company use what you doing to leverage millions of dollars into their company off of your work. Man, that shit hurt like a motherfucker.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I learned most recently with a situation like that is I was watching the CEO and how he was moving. He had a nonprofit company that I was an employee of, and he also had a for-profit company that dealt with real estate that housed the people that he was servicing, the nonprofit company. So with that, you can bounce money back and forth. You can get all kind of tax loops and all of that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I think we should definitely look into setting up our own nonprofit organization because it open. I mean, when I worked for his company, I can go to any store, buy stuff, not have to pay taxes. You know what I'm saying? It just opened up the door for so much, man. And I seen how they was leveraging their money and how they was dealing with stuff, bouncing it back and forth between the nonprofit and the for-profit company, and just having both of those things intact. You should have an LLC and you should have a nonprofit company. You know what I'm saying? You should have a logo that you trademark. You know what I'm saying? And go from there. Now, for me, sometimes a lot of those things, I go back and forth with those things because it's not easy. When you paying for a trademark, you spending money on something that you're not getting immediate results from. When you when you purchase your LLC and put money into all of that, you're not getting immediate results. So sometimes, based on the mentality that I came up in, it's hard for me to spend money on something that I'm not seeing a result or a return on. But the long-term result, you know what I'm saying, such as being able to apply for, like, let's say the SBA loan that's out now. You know what I'm saying? Because I set up an LLC years ago, I was able to get, you know what I mean, some money off of that. My man, he got 300,000 off of his. You know what I'm saying? So having these things in place, when we start talking about financial literacy, I think you should have an LLC in place. I think you should have a nonprofit in place, and I think you should have something that's trademarked that you can call your own in place. And that gives you a platform to manipulate and manage this code, that crack this code that they got in front of us.
Get them
Absolutely.
deductions up.
Yeah, that piece is powerful about the nonprofit and the for-profit, as far as them feed one another. And the grant writing piece is really essential. Now you mentioned that it is a contact I'm gonna try to get with a young lady. She was actually trying to find another female to mentor, an older woman. She's a master grant writer, but she's looking for somebody to mentor with that. And I mean, mastering those skill set, man, and getting those organizations set up. I mean, it's doable and it's definitely profitable.
Yeah, I mean, as far as my experience is concerned, I don't even think you really in the game, that aspect of the game, without those things in place. You know what I mean? You asked me what I would do different. I probably would have been doing that back then. I probably would have been thinking less as an individual, as a straw man, and more as a company, and put them together. You know what I mean?
Yep, exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah, that system piece is important, man. I was telling Mill, man, that and I got to get with you, Vu. We had this conversation that you probably don't remember it, but we had a conversation about vending machines.
Yeah, okay, I do.
Yeah,
from a post we were talking about. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and splash into that because
okay,
it's some money out here to be made, man, and the idea is generational wealth, like we talked about.
Absolutely.
And vending machines is no location.
Yeah.
I can have a vending machine in Alaska. You know what I mean? I just need somebody to service that joint. Yeah. I need to set up the business contact. So absolutely. That's the kind of stuff I'm looking for, and I can help people from my position right here, way over there. So. Right. So the systems piece is very important, man, and some of the concepts that we're talking about tonight, man, are powerful because we're talking business, man. Some of these concepts that we just touching on for the audience sake, are powerful. Like the real estate piece, they got investment clubs out here, man. They got people putting money together. I looked online, they got informal loan clubs in all of the ethnic people across the world. I don't see nothing for Black people though. I see one for Mexico. I see one for the Caribbean and West Africa. They call it a susu, right?
Yeah.
And for Asia, they call it a hui.
Yeah.
So they got all these different informal loan clubs. But guess what? If they got a name for it and I can look it up, that means that those folks are using it. I don't see any loan clubs for Black people.
And that's funny. On the practical side of that, actually, it's funny you said that. It's a brother, Stan Matthews. They actually have a group now that's going to allow us to get into the real estate game on the individual level, wholesale as a group. So I'll be shooting out some information for that. And back to on the real estate piece too. It's funny you said that. I was thinking to ask Brahim about Phoenix area. Do they deal with tax lien search there, Brahim?
Tax lien search?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do in Phoenix? All right. Okay. You know the percentages at all?
No, I can look into it though.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, that's the type
I
of
don't want
stuff.
to just throw numbers out there. I'll give you an actual number.
All right.
By the,
Yeah, my bad.
Good
But
stuff. Good
that's
stuff.
the kind of energy we should be on though, man. Is making sure that we can start putting together some systems, man, and some people that want to go ahead and put together a real estate club or a business club where we put money in and we starting to like build. We buy back our neighborhood stores. Let's do that first.
Well, and then
Can we do that?
Let's do some more streams of income.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
And Haim, I know you talked about that. Now I just want to get something straight. I know they do the sheriff sales in Phoenix.
They do the sheriff sales nationally,
right?
Because there's properties everywhere, right? And so, say for example, I'm gonna just walk you through my process. I don't have to be in Philly, where all I gotta do is get online. If I would, let's just say Google is your friend. Let's just say I go into Baltimore, I type in Baltimore sheriff sale. It's gonna pop up whatever that county is. I'm looking into it. Say if I got a budget, I stick to that budget. I want to find everything in the search engine with whatever my budget is. And then, if I have the resources to go over there, I flew over there, participate in the sheriff sale. And so you could do that everywhere. It's nationally. It's public information. And so, and when we get into, this formula that I'm gonna talk about in a little bit, you have opportunity to do it. But the thing is, I don't want people to get caught up in the idea that, hey, I don't live in this place, right?
Right.
Because most people are like, I don't live there. They have management firms.
Absolutely.
$90 a month, my friend.
Absolutely.
That will manage your property for you.
And I know this.
I'm not promoting nobody. All I'm gonna say is type in Google, management firm that manage your property, and you'll see it. You'll see whatever their price point, but the most I've seen that I paid for is less than $120, man, a month.
Yeah.
And so they will manage that for you. They'll provide that peace of mind option. So I definitely gotta, throw that in here.
Awesome. Yeah, reason I asked because I know a tax lien search, they're national too, but certain cities don't participate. They participate in the sheriff sale, but not in the tax lien search. So with the sheriff sale, that's pretty much every locale. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's funny. You talked about Baltimore. I was looking. The only thing that I saw that stopped me from, because you're right, they had houses for $1, $1.
And they had lots. They had lots for $1,000.
Yeah. See, but the only thing that stopped me is they put some clause in there that said you got to stay in there for years.
How do they monitor that though? Let me answer that.
I didn't even think about that, man.
How do they really monitor it without going against,
I ain't even think about that, but that stopped me. But you know what? I gotta, I'm gonna revisit that. But yeah, that's what stopped me though.
This ain't the, and I'm gonna tread lightly with this, but this ain't the Section 8 piece where we about to come do an inspection on your situation.
Got you.
Nobody coming in there checking if you living and breathing in there, man.
Got you.
That ain't that. Once you own it, you own it.
I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Look, only time they got to worry about you don't pay that in taxes at the end of the year. That's it, man. But
yeah, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Inspections or nothing, man.
But see, now that we talking about that piece and it's national, man. Listen, we get some brothers together, man. Start putting that investment club that we talked about.
Absolutely.
Putting some money into some properties.
Mm-hmm.
We ain't gotta work like that no more. You know what I mean? We got that passive income coming in, you know, and then we dealing with business. You know, that's the business of what we doing becomes our business.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? So, and then we branch out. You know, we do. Listen, there's power in the brain, bro. A lot of the stuff that we talking about in terms of financial pieces, when you break it down and think about it, it's not very complicated, man.
No.
It's the will, man, and the will to learn and do. Kind of like what Brahim was talking about, man. Failing forward.
Absolutely.
You know, taking your lumps, taking your bruises, but guess what? We get callous when we take them lumps and bruises, bro.
Absolutely. That's part of the journey, you know.
Absolutely.
You should expect that. You know, you should expect that. That's part of the journey. And that's the whole process. And I think Raheem alluded to that earlier too about his journey, because a lot of times we focus on the journey, but it's really who we got to become to get there, you know. That's really what get us there. Now it's talked about some of those things earlier, you know, and all those things as you enduring, you know, is really who you got to become to get the job done, to make that vision happen that Brahim had. It couldn't have been the person you were at the time. Otherwise, the vision would be there, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you go through the fire, walk through them coals to get where you got to go.
Well.
Yeah, you know what, man? It makes me think, man. You know, I think another big part of that is, man, we kind of underestimate the training that we already have, man. You know, the training that we got through the streets, man. I mean, if you hustle, you pretty much run a business. You know what I mean? Fig, man, you talked about that, I think last night.
If you cook crack, you're a chemist.
Yeah, a lot of the same principles with investing go with the streets. Exactly. That's why I think Fig said it's easy, you know, something we can do.
Listen, when I hear some people, man, that hustle, speak their language of mathematics, and they be talking about a half ounce and a quarter pound, and you know what I'm saying, like, it's the numbers.
Preach, brother.
I've been in a situation. I've been calling it on site, bro. I didn't even need a skill. You understand what I'm saying? and I knew it was coming straight back. You know what I mean?
Right.
You take that same shit and you apply it to a marketable product, a legal marketable product. Therein lies your business, man. You know,
it's just learning. Yeah. I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
Well, I was just gonna say, you know, you already got that just from growing up. How you grew up.
Yeah.
Go ahead, tell me about that candy piece, Bill.
Oh man, yeah. Okay, so when we were young, man, you know, we had an old head out here, man, that used to grab all the young boys up, man, go right down Washington Avenue, buy cases of candy, take us out to the suburbs, turn us loose on the streets with a speech. We sell out, come back, give him the bread, he cut us a check. You understand what I'm saying?
That's business.
It's a business.
His
nephew today, I don't want to say no names, but his nephew today, man, you know, who I respect tremendously, his hustle, man, because he took that same blueprint, man, and he sells, you know, general household products and body products, man. You know what I'm saying? And he's done very well for himself. Like, I ain't gonna put all his business out there, but he's done very well for himself, man. Off a simple business model.
Entrepreneurial spirit, yeah.
And the thing about it, like when you break it down, right, it has all the elements of business.
Every last one of them.
Yeah,
all the elements of business, from like the gathering, the meeting in the park. Then we go down to the place to get the product.
Right.
Exactly.
Then we get the marketing.
Right.
Then we get the selling, and then we get the cut. That's business.
Get checked.
Absolutely.
You know
And then y'all working as a group, the leverage.
Exactly.
Yeah, nobody double back and went down nobody else's streets.
Man, it was some hot days, boy. I remember them hot days, boy. But we was out there, though, man.
Hey, Mel, you were selling Kit Kats on the side, man. Stop man.
Nigga, we selling peanut brittle, brother. Represent the young boys and girls with the prize plan, which is an organization that helps young black brothers stay off the street and out of trouble. Could you please help us out by purchasing some of this candy?
It's real rap.
They couldn't turn us down. Candy, we got lemonade, iced tea. You know what I'm saying? Matchbox cars. We were young, man. We were little guys, man.
And guess what? That model probably was giving it up.
Yeah, I still remember the speech, man.
Oh yeah, the book. That's a lot with I think that's Francis Crescent Wealth teacher talks about that. You know, that how you employ yourself like that. You know, compulsory. Think of the compulsory pension or something he was talking about. You know, he said he's not begging. He's looking for a compulsory repentance. Right. Providing a service, but that whole spill. Yeah, but that whole spill, providing a service.
Yeah, Dr. Carter G. Wilson comes to my mind, man. Somebody you introduced me to, Vuk. You know what I mean? He says, you know, basically we spend too much time teaching our children to be employees instead of being bosses, man.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
That resonated with me forever, man.
Absolutely.
You know.
What's the candy selling speech, Mel?
Again?
Speech.
How you doing? My name is Rob Mill. I represent the young boys and girls of the Prize Plan, which is an organization used to keep young black boys off the street and out of trouble. Please help us out by purchasing some of this delicious peanut brittle.
Exactly.
Exactly. Like off, I can't refuse. It's $5, sir. It's $5.
And the thing, you know, what was ironic too was they took us to the white neighborhoods, man.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Niggas don't want to hear that shit.
Yeah, they took us to the white neighborhoods.
The whole game plan, man.
We was out in the Northeast.
Northeast, yeah.
Marketing, strategy, marketing.
All of that, man. And the thing about it was
exposure.
On the way up there, I was going over my speech, man. All right, how we, you getting it together. So
I was saying
all the things we do.
About 10 years old, man.
Yeah, all the things we do that we associate with like business, like Raheem was talking about his marketing. That he obviously he had to market for his product. But these are some of the things that we was doing as young as 8 and 10. So that's if we look at it in the right frame.
Flyer system.
Exactly. If we look at it like that, we're doing this. We're capable of doing it. Why aren't we doing it now?
Absolutely. And it ain't got to be why. It ain't got to be why aren't we now? Got to be let's do it now.
Yes, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Well, let me ask you something, Fig. I know what was your reaction? You too, Mel. I could see your face when it actually worked. Is you saying your speech to yourself, you going up there, then somebody turned that money over at work. Inside yourself, you're like, God damn, that shit real, huh?
Well, you know what we was starting. You know what you started to, you became a businessman. You started calculating your cut. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
You started calculating your cut.
All I'm gonna say is by week number 2, I needed more candy, brother.
Right. But look how it changed from, think about it though, the initial doubt. Think about it for your first sale, how doubtful you was. Now,
I wasn't.
Week 2, you expected to have it. Run that shit in. They're gonna run it. How much I'm gonna make this week?
Listen, like I said, I've been fortunate in a lot of areas in my life. I got an older brother that went out first. I knew that was gold, baby.
Okay.
And they came back with Gap, but I was like, I need some of that, bro.
Yeah, man.
So you just had to get your line.
I said, yeah, right.
So we got that entrepreneurial spirit, man. In some way, we got to keep that circulating amongst our people, man, and letting them know that, it's a model out there for us, man. And we can continue that same model with the brain power that we got amongst us and some cash flow, you know, to the bigger goal of ownership, business, you know.
Sacrifices some discipline, man.
Hey, we got buck houses out here. You know what I mean? Why I can't have some of these buck houses? You know what I mean?
I want to ask Raheem a question. By you being successful in your endeavor and creating a company and all the hurdles you had to go through, you talking to people in general, young folks, even us on the panel. How can I frame this? What, in your estimation, what's going to be the biggest hurdles, or what can be some of the biggest hurdles that people have to deal with if they want to see their projects come to fruition? Like you saw yours go from A to Z, even through a period where, like you said, another company actually benefited off your program, but you more fell forward in that case and used that as motivation to make sure you made yours happen.
Outstanding question. Outstanding.
Patience is the foundational piece. You know, we live in a microwavable society now, you know, like Dredd mentioned earlier, you know, it was hard for him to, I'm gonna make this investment, right? Knowing that he's not gonna get a return on his investment right away. And so you have to have patience and belief. And no matter, like, if you're passionate about it, if you know you're passionate about something, you're thinking about it all the time. You're thinking about it all the time. That's when you know it's your calling. And for me, man, even when I fell short, excuse me, I kept thinking about it. And so it's your mindset. If you run into a wall, you know you gotta go the other way. Like, part of your journey, we would think success is a straight line. Oh man, it's a zigzag. You go through hurdles, but you have to stick with it, man. And it's cliche, but sometimes it takes over 8 years to be an overnight success. You know, when I did, Rome wasn't built in one day. You know, I had people that got startups. I've been doing this for a year or two. Okay. What did you do in them 2 years? You learn, because when I started out, man, I was the janitor, the accountant, the spokesperson, the business closer, the fundraiser officer. And so you learn all these things. You can't tell me when you're starting a business that you equipped with all these skills. No, you got to keep on building. You got to keep sharpening your X. So I encourage people to stick to the things that you believe in, and having patience to allow it to really manifest for the seeds that you have sown. And so, you know, like, and I could, like, for me, I'm a realist. Like, you know, like I hold myself accountable a lot of, you know, things, and just be being real with myself. I've been doing this for about 8 years now. And probably since last year, I'm finally starting to see, like, I'm finally, you know, positioning myself where the day-to-day operations is tight, right? And but it takes time. And that's why I said you learning, and you gotta tell yourself, it's not about making money right now. It's about learning, perfecting your craft, falling in love with the process. Then you get to the point where you have an opportunity, when we talk about systems again, you can scale what you do. You can duplicate what you do. Because now, like, even with my mentor, even with corporations, based off the conversation now, where I'm able to gauge, I know exactly where you at when you start talking about business. If it's just you, no disrespect, you small time. I know you ain't really doing nothing. And because when you talk about entrepreneur, we ain't talking about self-employed. When you self-employed, yeah, you're working for yourself, but as an entrepreneur, you got people under you. You're building with people. So when you got a team behind you, because when you write them taxes, at the end of the day, you got to pay for that, right? And so even when you're dealing with corporate, so one of the days, I'm gonna go back to Drab. Drab mentioned, said, if I would do something different, paperwork is important. So when I'm in this corporate meeting, I go through my process, I make my pitch. They want to look at my returns. They want to look at my returns, one. Also, they want to know with my nonprofit, they want to know who's on your board.
Yep.
That's important because that validates you. And let me say that again. Your board validates you, your credibility. You can't have, my cousin on there. No, you got to have some people that can vouch for you professionally. And so again, when you building, they care about your tax return. They want to know what's your profits. They want to know your losses. You can't go in there and say, listen, when this is when I say to cut the bullshit. If you open up your mouth and say to me, yeah, I had a company since 2015. All right, where your tax returns? Because that cut out you ain't got to wow me with your tax return. So if you don't got respect for yourself to file your taxes, you half-assing. I can't be associated with you, my man. Like, look, I can give you all the advice in the world, but if your shit ain't together, and because I had to go through it, so I'm making sure nobody else ain't got to go through it. File them taxes, even if you ain't make no money. Because like he said when he had that LLC, look, people got small businesses came up. It came up in this COVID. Because he had his LLC intact, he was able to benefit from it. And so that's important, man.
You just dropped the hurt piece on me, man, with the tax word, man.
Oh, man, it's the truth, man. Oh, man.
You dropped the hurt piece on me, man. I don't even want to start thinking about tax. I want to share share something real quick because you pretty much hit on it, but in reality, man, when I share my screen, this is what success looks like, man.
Set you up.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I ain't doing no more YouTube, man. They cut us out, man. They killed us, man.
You
You good?
Don't get us banned.
I ain't trying to do. I'm just bringing up something that's out here. I ain't doing it. I'm good.
Yeah, you good.
There you go.
That line and that zigzag, baby.
That's what it looked like, right?
Yeah.
Everybody think that's what they think it looked like, right?
Yeah.
That's what it looked like, brother.
Yeah. Ain't that real fake? You don't want no flat line. Like even when you're in the hospital, they got you in the heart joint. That thing got to go up and down, right? Boop, 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 boop. When that joint goes straight,
yeah, bro, that's what it looked like, man. I'm gonna stop sharing, but that's what Brahim talked about is real, man. This is it right here, man. This is what it really looked like. And all this is stop signs for a lot of people. Some people stop right there, man. The first curve they stop, right?
Over.
Yeah, I mean, it's real, man. Like, I still, every day, it's crazy because even just today, right before this call, it's never a moment I feel like where I'm not reminding myself or pushing myself or validating myself. You don't always get that externally. So sometimes you got to pull it from within. You got to tell yourself, keep going, you got this. No matter what it looks like, no matter what kind of pressure you under, like Bra said, you know what I mean? A baby don't just say, all right, I'm cool with not being able to walk just because you fall. So, that's the tough part of the process, but a necessary part of the process. Right. You said something about a formula. You got a formula. Let's talk about your formula.
All right. Yeah, let's get into it, man. So
I'm about to bring out my notebook.
Let's about to annotate.
Hey,
annotate.
Just so the people know, we do a production meeting, right? Man, the brother broke out this formula. I was like this. Hold on. All right, bro.
All right, man. First, we have to understand just the power of systems, right? And so I have to shed light on how systems play an essential role to our lives that if even people don't even recognize. So when you talk about systemic racism, when you talk about systemic oppression or whatever, with the root word is system. And that was used to control us for so long. And I'm going back, 200 years, and I'm taking into account everything, when we talk about different leaders in the past, receiving government assistance. We had programs, with UEP and the 10-step programs and things in place. We had scholars already that was well versed. You had people that were speaking 5 languages back in the day. You had all these dynamics already into play. But when we look at society today, today, what did we gain in regards to wealth? And Mill held me accountable. And so I'm gonna clarify the difference between the two. It's not when we was talking about wealth, it's not based off your income. If you make $100,000 a year and your expenses $100,000, you basically broke living paycheck to paycheck. But when we talk about acquiring wealth, establishing wealth, is some assets that you have in place. I might have a phenomenal job, but I can't pass on that to my family member. I can't bring Mill, yo, you working with me. I can't do that. I can't pass that on to you. That's my job. But when we talk about, acquiring wealth, I wanted to make it simple. So as I've grown, one thing I realized just with my mentors and just being around wealthy people, they keep shit simple, man. They don't overcomplicate stuff. And so going back to the power of systems, when we talked about the Willie Lynch letter is a myth. Let's think about that. Let's talk about it for a second. We know the story, but 300 years ago, he employed, a program, a method, as you say, to, separate us. Make the young versus the old versus the young, the dark-skinned slave versus the light-skinned slave, removing the man, empowering the woman. And so let's just say if it goes back 300 years, I still see it as if it was yesterday, man. Like I see it today. And so obviously it's power in that. So what I want to do tonight is just simplify it, where you don't need no college degree, where you don't need no government assistance. I'm gonna just show you how to stay 10 toes down. And so in order for you to fully appreciate what I'm about to say, one of the things you have to understand is the foundational pieces that need to be intact in order for you to acquire wealth. One of the things in my household, a lot of things in my extended family, one of the things we don't talk about is the power of discipline. Discipline is important. And consistency and patience. These are the foundational pieces. And also when we about to talk about group economics, collaboration, that's important. And what's fascinating is when I think about, my family, I'm like, damn, when do outside of, we just had a family reunion. I'm like, damn, when I'm self-assessing, when do my family come together? When do most families come together? Usually funerals, right? Funerals, I ain't speak to such and such in 15 years, but I met at the funeral, right? To come pay their respect. But what's interesting about funerals, I could be like, yo, I'm messed up. I ain't got no bread right now, and this and that. But they become real resourceful when it's time to bury you. We put all our chips to the table and we come up with money to bury you. But what if we did that collectively on a positive note? So with this formula, I'm not going to give you the variables. I'm just going to say it out so everybody can grasp it. So I'm going to just use us. Say if we all live in a household, our rent, let's say our rent $1,500. We split it 5 ways. I encourage everybody, if they don't have a college degree and they're not making over $50,000, that's fine. If you got a felony, cool. I got something for you too. I'm gonna use the technology that's already at our fingertips. I'm just gonna use Lyft, Uber, Uber Eats. As a disclaimer, listen, I'm not promoting that. I ain't getting no money from this. I'm just telling you how to leverage it. So let's just say, for the sake of conversation, we all Lyft drivers in the household. 5 of us all, we driving Lyft. Our goal is to make $200 a day. And I apologize, I'm slowing things down because I want everybody to really grasp it, our viewers. Our goal is to make $200 a day. So with $200 a day, you might spend about 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever to get 200, whatever. We make $200 a day. We take no days off. We sacrifice a month. Most people are like, wow, a month, I don't take no days off. I'll take a year off. I tell people, what you did March 28th of last year? I don't know. What you did April 2nd of last year? Most people don't remember because it's not important. We remember holidays, we remember birthdays. We don't remember regular days. So you ain't missing anything. So get back to my point. $200 a day, 7 days a week would yield $1,400. Over the course of a month, 10 toes down, 30 days, you will yield $5,600. Now we got $5,600 that I brought to the table. We all live in the same household, so I'm just focusing on my necessity. I'm gonna pay my cell phone bill, a little groceries here and there. May got a little car note, cool. I take the 600, I put it to the side for my necessities. I contribute $5,000 to the group. Let's just say 5 of us contribute. The $5,000, we total that up monthly, that's $25,000, right? We got $25,000 that we came to together as a group, right? So now that we got 25,000, most people, I'm gonna just say from my experiences where I grew up, most people ain't had $25,000 in their hand. They usually get that for like car notes and stuff. So now we got $25,000 in cash, no credit, nothing. We stretched that out for an entire year. Within the 5 of us, as we stay 10 toes down, sacrifice 1 year of our lives, 5 of us will be able to yield $300,000 in capital. Now, we got $300,000 to play with. What are we going to do with it? The first thing, establishing wealth in America is property. So let's say for the sake of conversation, we focus on Mill. We say, Mill, we're going to get you right. Mill, listen, we're going to buy your house at $150,000. We ain't going in there asking for no bank, for no money. We not asking for no credit. We're going to take $150K, get a cashier's check, go purchase that home for $150,000. Mill have to stay in there for over 5 years, make it, accommodating. So that's why we spend $150,000, 3-bedroom house, whatever, finished basement, whatever. We can go to West Oak Lane and get a nice house for $150,000. Now we have $150,000 to play with. Now let's just say, for the sake of conversation, we got $150,000 left over. What do we do with it? The point that we talked about the sheriff sales. Let's take $100,000 out of that $150,000 and invest into 5 investment properties. What are investment properties? Let's talk about it. These are the things that you can. How I use my investment properties is I Section 8 them and give them to tenants. When you look at Section 8, you got people backed up 8 years trying to on a list that they can't get homes. So it's always going to be opportunity there. So let's just say we buy 5 properties, we got $50,000 left over. We use that $50K to, furnish the place, fix some stuff up, remodel the kitchen, make it accommodating for these tenants. It don't have to be nothing extravagant, just suitable for their living. Now, that first year, let's tally up. Sacrificing a year, we made $300,000. We got 6 properties underneath our belt. Let's just say everybody fall in love with the system. We stay committed for 5 years. Same process, step by step. We able to yield over 30 properties in a span of 5 years if we stick to this model. Now let's see what that look like. Let's talk about generational wealth and passing it on. My kids. I pass it on to them. Let's just say we wait 15 years. We sitting on 30 properties. We maintain it, make sure the taxes is paid on it. Let everybody know it's public record that we paid $20,000, which is cool. When you talk about gentrification and all this stuff, when you increase the market value of these properties, let's just say for the sake of conversation, everything is capped off at 100,000. That means over the course of 15-year span, we're able to accumulate collectively $3 million in assets that our family will have intact. And so this is not credit. This is not how to get a loan. This is mainly following a step-by-step process equivalent to what Willie Lynch pitched to How to Control the Makings of a Slave. And so if you see a lot of similarities from 300 years ago, it's power in that. And so one of the things is, yeah, it's simple, but the work is this. It's learning how to be disciplined. The work is learning to have patience. The work is consistency, because the system is not flawed, because mind you, it's 5 of us. If Mill come in there like, yo, bro, I ain't got the 20,000. I got 10,000. It wasn't the system. Mill was out there partying. Mill was up there bossing up, taking, spending unnecessary money. That was a flaw within yourself, but that's okay. Because listen, if I'm even still to bring $10,000 to the table, we still breaking in, because we got more money than we ever had at one time. So even if you fall short the first 3 months, you might not get that 20K. Even if you get 15, even if you get 10, even if you get 5,000, it's 5,000 more, and it's showing you the discipline and saving. And so with the foundation pieces, I'm gonna close by this, and then we could talk more about it. So the movie that come to mind when we talk about, discipline, patience, and consistency, it takes me back to, Karate Kid, and, with Danny and Mr. Miyagi. He seeked out, Mr. Miyagi, like, yo, I need you to help me, train me, and Mr. Miyagi, again, dropping the gem, like, listen, I need you to do X, Y, and Z. You want to do it? So start, washing his car, painting his fence, sanding, the deck, painting the house. And after a while, he started becoming impatient in regards to the process. So he approached him like, yo, I'm starting to feel like a slave, man. Like, I thought you said we had a deal. He said, it's no learning in this. He said, everything ain't what it seemed. He said, it's a lot of learning to come from this. So again, Danny didn't understand. He didn't fully appreciate what he was taught. So he told him basically, listen, sand the floor. He like, what? He get down. No, sand the floor. Then he go into emotion. Then he tell him, wax on, wax off. And then when he was teaching them, self-defense, how to protect yourself. And it was learning in that. He didn't have to tell him. It was through his process. And so again, the power of these systems, listen, it ain't for everybody, but it's for everyone that want to establish some type of wealth without relying on somebody. If you're able and willing to, this is the blueprint for you to be successful. Once you be able to accumulate this type of thing, then the next step is learning how to leverage the credit, diversifying your portfolio, something like I did. But the first step is that, man, getting on properties, establishing that. Then you can you can stop trading your time for money and start learning how to let your money start making money for you. That's the second step. The first step is 10 toes down, staying committed for a year, man. And you will yield results, tremendous results.
Well, it sounds like we need to be the leading example of how to make that happen. If I had it my way, what I would like to see is 5 of us right here. You know what I mean? I would like to see 5 of us put a plan into motion where we can lead the way for other people to follow in our footsteps as a collective.
As usual, Dre, you
Storefront.
always in the middle. As usual, you always in the middle. You know what I
Listen, man,
mean? Us five supposed to make
let's
it
do
alive.
it. Let's do it, man.
Make it a storefront, and I'm all in.
Oh, no, but let's touch upon that. What you talk about the model, because I know people need to hear that, it's very simple, but it's effective and it works. So let's shed light on that a little bit.
Right by me again, bro.
No, what I'm basically saying, what's your thoughts? Like, what's your take on the system that, I'm suggesting?
You know what, man? Honestly, man, I think I told you this the other day, man. It eerily reminds me of a thought process I had in my 20s, man, where I wanted to start an investment group with some friends.
Mill, your microphone, bro.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yeah, better.
All right, yeah. I said, it eerily reminds me of something I put down on paper, man, a long time ago. So, it's sound. There are no gaps in it. There are no holes in it. What it's going to take is something that you was emphasizing, man. Discipline, sacrifice. You know what I mean? And just the desire to see it through. You know what I mean? I can't really add on much to what you said, bro. It was so sound, man, so tight.
Well, it's a commitment. It's a commitment to each other as well, man. We all got to hold the line.
Exactly.
And the key piece is the 10 toes down. That's the key piece.
The commitment, right? The discipline.
And nothing should be too below you in terms of keeping the team moving towards the goal, man. And I just want to touch back on what Brahim was talking about in terms of the Miyagi piece. I was reading this one book, man, and I read a lot of fiction too. I just don't read a lot of knowledge books, but it was an Asian book that I was reading. And before the master trained this young female, he told her to pick up this pig, and he wanted him to take her to take this pig up the hill every day for a year. She had to take this pig up the hill, and it was a steep hill. So she said, "Why am I gonna do that?" He said, "Just do it. The pig is gonna grow in a year, right? And guess what's gonna happen? You're gonna get stronger in a year." So basically, he said, you need to go ahead and work on your muscle tone. You need to get stronger, because what we're gonna do is gonna require strength. And right now, you're scrawny. So, like Brahim was saying, sometimes the method it's a method to in that madness that you think. You got to go through some things to learn some things as well. And quite frankly, some people are going to see it as a test, and quite frankly, it is a test to see how disciplined you are. Are you 10 toes down? I like that phrase.
So this will be my first inquiry, right? Let's say we all agree, okay, that what we have in front of us, we're going to start an investment group, right? How do we set up ourselves? Because like one of the things I think most people will be concerned about in any situation is taking losses, right? And safeguarding your investment. What will be the first step or the first couple steps as far as setting up an investment group, creating an account that everybody could, put in a pot, know that it's safe, and know that no one person can exploit that, where the whole process is safeguarded and everybody feel comfortable moving forward.
You got to appoint somebody as a treasurer.
Trust. Yeah.
Treasurer, trust.
Yeah.
Might even be an outside party. I mean, but it's got to be a trust factor.
Got a couple ways you can approach it too. Remember, and as far as when you open a business account as well, you can have a couple signatures. We had the majority of folks
authorized users.
Right, absolutely. Then we can draw. I mean, the format is up to us. There's a couple ways again that we could do that, but I get exactly where you're going at with that, Dre, but that's doable. There's a couple options we got based on what we want to do, though.
Yeah, like you would put a signatory on who can even come to the bank.
Right.
Yeah.
You know
When
what I
we
mean?
say, and when we say, then first thing we have to decide is, you mentioned investment group. Will it be an investment group, LLC? How we going to approach that, right? Initially, because I see this thing branching out to what y'all was talking about and what Brahim was talking about as well. You know, maybe nonprofit, feeding profits, and all those things. But in the infant stages, where we're going to start at, as far as investment group LLC, because we're not talking club, we talking business here. So we ain't talking no clubs, we talking business. So we even talking as a group LLC or group investment business. Excuse me. Again, it depends on how we want to approach it and what's going to be the first order of business.
And that's how, and I like the way you said that too, because not that we want to follow a quote unquote corporate model, but yeah, this is business. This is business, brothers. We trying to do something.
Yeah.
The way Brahim laid it out, the ego's gonna be checked at the door. First order of business, that's the language we gonna start talking. You know what I mean?
Well,
So
one of the things you want to get, and Brian, you can work with me, and we can all chime in on that. And back to checking egos and things at the door. When you have a business, a code of conduct or a way, mission statement, things of that nature, that knocks all the I's and we's out. We in there for the mission, correct?
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Right. So when we agree upon as a unit what our mission is, what our codes are, and all those things, that'll check everything at the door. And Dread, to your piece though, that's something we'll come up with as far as we're gonna be LLC, then we're gonna do signatures, like Raheem said, authorized signatures, or we're gonna do like Feek said, the treasurer, XYZ, and or a combination of both. Like I said, we have options, but we definitely gotta sit down and hash that out.
Yeah.
I just want to jump in.
Yes,
It's
sir.
very important. So when we talk about mindset, when we talk about, trusting somebody, right? One thing I realized, I had the privilege of, playing on both sides, having mentors that's, millionaires and what I will tell you, for somebody that look like me, that came from the same place and just understand how money works, it's a fear, because when you used to not having something, you want to hold on to it as much as you can, because you might not get it. You don't know when it's coming back. So most people fear of giving. And so what I will tell you, I'm just going to have a shift in the mindset. Well, literally what we talked about last night, this book right here, man, The Millionaire Next Door, man, listen, I'm gonna just give you an example how wealthy people think. And so I don't know what it's going to do when they internalizing this, but do you think you're better than a person that have more than you, that's lived, I was come down to moral compass, but the person that's thriving and they thinking different and they're disciplining themselves, where you got a person that's making less, that's fearful and this and that. And so I point that out to say, in that book, it talks about, millionaires, not like the Kardashian, the athletes and whatever. They talking about somebody that that's regular, that budget their life within a year. I don't know if I ever, even at this point, budget for the entire year. That level of discipline, man. Can you imagine this? Like, they know in June, we going to the movies. In July, oh, yeah, we might have some extra money to do X, Y, and Z, but they're disciplined, they're sound, and they know what they do. They basically get in front of stuff. And so this is what we need to do in order to inquire it. It don't need to have, because again, it's a analogy out there that's basically saying, listen, if you were to divvy up all the money, divide it to everybody evenly, that it will return back to the same hands.
Same folks,
right?
Absolutely.
And why? And people are like, how? Because they understand how money works. And it's not just that, it's the discipline they have to leverage their money. And that's the conversations that we have, because again, discipline is not a sexy word. When I'm out on a date, they be like, yo, what's your attributes? This and that. I ain't gonna say, yeah, I'm disciplined. You know what I'm saying? Like that it's not going to speak to, it's not sexy. Nobody really talk about these things. So it's important that even if people, I'm talking this for our viewers, even if you taking your time and, trying to figure out if you want to, establish wealth, what I will say is good practice. One of the things that allow me to grow is self-assessing, understanding what my weaknesses is. If you're not a disciplined person, I encourage people to be more disciplined. Just try it, because that's the recipe for success. And so if you add this a part of, your skill sets, man, you're going to be dangerous, and they give you an opportunity to really start establishing wealth. It might take you a couple years. It might take you tomorrow. But once you get on that path, man, if you 10 toes down, you'll yield the results. And that's simple. I'm just keeping it simple for you, man.
Absolutely.
Y'all know I always got a book, man. Y'all know I always got a book, man.
Let's have it. Let's have it.
The brother talked about it, man. Psychology of money, man. We got to start studying it, man. Raheem, in our production meeting, you talked about the clear folk down in Philly at the Franklin Museum, talking about money at the age of 8.
Yeah.
Talking to the young boy at 8. We got to study it. We got to study the psychology of money, man.
Then it's crazy. It's crazy because, like you said, we are into it at that age. Like Mill was talking about with the candy and all of that. But we don't even view it through that lens. We don't even, you know what I'm saying? It's not validated as such.
We don't even think about it like that. We think of it through a survival lens.
Right.
And let's think about it. When we was doing that as kids, we didn't put that money away. We weren't
taught to.
We weren't taught to. Again, it's that psychology, man.
Right. We weren't taught the value of first of all what we were doing. You know what I mean? Second of all, man, we weren't taught the value of money. We were taught that it was a means of exchange, no more, no less. You know what I'm saying? And some of us have never left that mindset, man, up until adulthood. Just look at, the purchasing power of Black America right now. You know what I mean? If we reinvested some of that we purchased, let's say 25% of our purchasing power gets invested into, schooling our children, creating schools for our children.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? That's a paradigm shift.
And what's interesting is, all right, we got the money. We just pick and choose.
Oh, yeah.
Let's call it for what it is. We got the money. We got the money. It's just what's important, right? And so I know we talked about books, but the best book I grasp and is easy to digest is this one. And it's very important that for people that's trying to, acquire wealth, this is it, man. The richest man in Babylon. This is it.
I got that too. I got it.
And I'm gonna tell you why. It's even if it's not about saving. It's not, you can't make no paper off of saving. Like you can't. It's what you invest your money into. Like, and so let me tell you about, working for 9 to 5. Oh man, work that 9 to, if you love that job, work it. That's what you want to do. It ain't about that. When you're acquiring wealth, you can work your 9 to 5 job and love it. You make your 50,000, 100,000, 200,000. That's cool. You ain't got to be an entrepreneur. But the sake of the conversation is, listen, I got some extra paper on the side while I'm working my 9 to 5. I'm going to show how to make investments so I'm making money while I'm asleep. So when I'm getting up, I'm still working my 9 because I love it. But now I got money coming in and it's opened up doors for other things. So because of what most people do, you start calculating stuff. Oh, I know this check. I know how much I'm getting. So they start again. They become consumers. And in this book, they talk about paying yourself first. People, what is that? Pay yourself first. Most people think, oh, I do get paid first. What are you talking about? I get paid every 2 weeks. No. When you go buy them bags, when you go buy stuff you don't need, you giving away your money. You giving it, you a consumer. So you taking away. Keep that money, pay yourself first. And so it's important. So people got the money, stop spending money on Jordans. I mean, I love Jordans. So look, I get all that, but when we talk about lease, get the wealth first. Let the wealth start making money for you. Then if you want to go buy them Jordans the day tomorrow, more power to you. You got the option. But now you ain't keeping up with the Joneses. You ain't living paycheck to paycheck. Now you're starting to have financial freedom. And so that need to be addressed. That need to be talked about. It's not about saving, man. It's not about saving at all.
But you don't make enough money to save. The average person doesn't make enough money to save.
That's a
Not
good point.
to change his condition.
Yeah,
Well,
that's two good points. You know, Brian, I want to talk about that, man, about the saving piece, because we are taught that. And like when you look at economics, if you're saving, like especially in this environment, let's take this environment right now. If you save right now, that's your main means of trying to increase your income or wealth. And you save in an environment that's if you get a bank account, you have a savings account or a checking account, you're getting less than 1% in this environment, right?
oh yeah, absolutely.
Checking and
Yeah,
savings account, so you saving
repository.
money, right? So now, excuse me, you saving, but inflation is at 2.5%. So you actually she's losing money by saving money. If your money isn't working, like you pointed out earlier, but putting the money to work, that's what money's to do. We make money's a good slave, but not a good master. You know, you're supposed to make it work for you. You know, we're supposed to put it to work. Money has value, like Neil was saying earlier. That's why they want your dollar. They take your money and put it to work. You take your money, you buy other people's products and services, send their kids to school, and our kids be starving, right? So it's all right to have Nikes, but if we're gonna wear them, why not invest in Nike?
Absolutely.
Right?
I'm a firm believer in that, man.
So absolutely, with the money working, the savers is a losing man game, really. Money should be invested, not saving, because we'll touch on that later. They get a thing called the banker's secret. How they take your money, give you 4%. That was back then, we're being generous, and they make 12% on your money. So at the end of 25 years, when you banking and saving, you made like a $1,000 decision based on them making 12% and you making 4%. So you know that's how the math works, really. So we be faked out. And to your point, but it comes with exposure, education, and that and it's there, you know. And now we're getting it. And now back to what we was talking about in the production yesterday, applying.
Gotta apply it. Gotta apply it. Yeah, and to your point, we really gotta let people know that banking is a repository. That's like a vault for your money, and you know what I mean. It's a vault, you know. So the money goes into a vault, and then, well, not physically, but your money goes in, and then they invest your money.
Absolutely. When you can invest it yourself, when you can
And
invest
then
it,
you
go
gotta,
get the 12% yourself.
yeah, and then you gotta go on bended knee and they're asking for
Oh,
what's
man.
yours, really.
Oh
Absolutely.
man.
Hold up. I got a story, man.
Oh man.
Hold up.
That was heavy.
Hold up. This is
Bended
crazy,
knee.
man. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, man.
That's exactly how it is. They cross
This-
investing the fuck out of your funds.
This the funny part, y'all. So when I started getting to a certain, bracket, mind you, I ain't know this, man. This is me being ignorant. I wanted to make a withdrawal, and so a large. I'm just give a number. So I wanted to take out 15,000 of my own money that been sitting in the bank. I purchased some equipment, and so I'm like, I call like, yeah, I want to I want to go to the ATM. You can't go to the ATM, man, with this type of money, right? I didn't know. You gotta look, you can't use your card with this type of transaction. You gotta call to take your money out, man.
Yes, sir.
You gotta talk to the man. You gotta talk to the man.
And so, but people don't guide you. We don't have these conversations at the dinner table, this and that, but it's just funny. It's like when it's just, again, information exposure, man. Because how many times, I mean, like somebody told us, like, listen, when you take out a certain amount, you got to go through all these loops, or you got to find the right account to allow you to have that type of access. But if that information ain't privy to you, just like, yo, this is crazy. Like, you start getting frustrated. Yo, it's my money. Like, what do you mean? I gotta beg you for, like you said, beg you to get my money. And so it's interesting, man. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I give you the visual, like you call them first, you be like, all right, first you go to the ATM, like you said, you be like, oh, your shit is denied. You be like, I know I got money in that motherfucking account, god damn it. You know what I mean? I know I got money in that account. Right. So you call the motherfuckers up, they be like, hold on.
Yeah, I verify. I talk to the
10 minutes
manager.
later, the motherfuckers come back and shit. You be like, the fuck took so long? Mr. Simmons, we can hold on for a second again. The bank manager gets on the phone and shit. You know what I mean?
You gotta talk to the man.
Yeah, the manager be like, Mr. Simmons, you can tell this happened to me as well. Mr. Simmons, yeah, we have verified. Yeah, it's
depending on what bank and how much, some signatures involved sometimes.
Yeah, I done been through the same shit, bro.
Yeah.
I done been through the same shit, man. But.
And so can I will shed light on one of the things I'm working on in regards to establishing wealth for my family. And I think it's important, once people, adopt this model, really what to do. And so I'm doing this for my girl. So my oldest, she's 13, man. And one of the things I wanted to do for her, based off that conversation with that 8-year-old, understanding economics and so on, just setting her up so she didn't have to go through the necessary hurdles that I did. So one of the things I did is I set up an LLC for her. It's no business structure on it. And just, just gave it a name. Made her an authorized user on my credit card and start building, getting her credit together. That's one thing. I made her authorized user on my credit card so she get all my benefits. And so start building her credit to A1. Also, one of the things is putting $20,000 into her account over the time. So when she's 18, she'll have access to it. Putting 2 properties in her name. And then one of my cars, she will get one of my cars. And so let's think about that for a second. But the reason why I'm doing this is I understand the hurdles that I had to go through. I understand how messed up my credit was at one time. I understand that I had to finance, literally go for broke, paycheck to paycheck, man, just to survive. And so my children not going to have to go through that. And it's important. So what that would look like is, let's just say my girls is bright, man. They do well in school. But let's just say for the sake of conversation, she don't get no scholarship to go to college. And she ain't got to go to college. She don't. But let's just say she wants to. She got 2 properties that's bringing in revenue. She can sell them $100,000 a piece and put herself through college. She don't have to finance a vehicle. She can drive daddy car. It's hers now. Sign it over to her. I don't know if they do gifts anymore, but if not, she got the car. She don't have to finance. And now with the A1 credit, she could be able to go to any institution, and get whatever she wants. And so when we talk about, in the past, 400 years behind, I get that. I get it. We can argue back and forth about it, but the decisions that we make today will have profound impact on the next generation to come. So even if we don't know it in the past, we know it today, and how we move forward is important. And so I just wanted to shed light. That's what I'm doing with my babies. Hopefully, the next generation will be able to do it for theirs, but that's the recipe right there. And so giving them a head start where they ain't got to worry about financially, be stressing how they pay bills. And at that point, they'll be able to learn how to leverage their own credit at that point. But I just wanted to throw that out there, man.
Yeah, that's real dope, Brian, man. I mean, I had a 15-year-old myself, man, and it's become my mission in life, man, to straighten her out financially, not have her suffer, even what I'm still suffering at this point. You know what I'm saying? So, I'm looking for definite ways to introduce her to different thought processes when it comes to using money. And Feek is helping me out tremendously with that right now, man. To be honest with you, man, because I mean, he right now he can do a better job at it than I can, man. And that's his niece, so like he really don't have much say in it. You know what I'm saying? As far as I'm concerned, man. And to hear you say that is beautiful as well, man. Because I can lean on you, man. I told you something earlier today. I told you something yesterday, man. My hat goes off to you because the student has become the teacher. You know what I mean? So I'm completely blown away and humbled by your presence, man, and what you bring to the show here tonight, man. Thank you.
Absolutely. I second that, man.
No, I
Second that.
appreciate y'all, man.
Oh, so listen, in order to make money, sometimes you gotta have money. In order to invest, you gotta have something to invest. So starting out at the ground level, can we offer some practical ways of making money? You talked about driving Uber, Lyft, and all of that,
Mm-hmm.
which was a great idea. The way you broke that formula down. We talked about vending machines. I also sent y'all the link to Essential Box of first plant-based vending machines ran by Black and Nobel. My man Hakeem, shout out to Hakeem on South Street in Philadelphia. If you don't know him, check them out. Definitely been doing this thing as an entrepreneur, selling the books and the different products, and they got the vending machines jumping off. One of my cousins just mentioned to me this thing that he jumping into, the notary, mobile
Yeah,
notary.
yeah.
Um,
I'm familiar.
are you familiar with it?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm familiar with the mobile notary. Definitely.
yeah,
Yeah,
it was
I was just privy to that, man, a few days ago.
word. I mean, honestly, when he broke it down to me, my antennas went up in the good way and the not so good way. Sometimes I look at things that sound too good to be true and be like, yo, let me see how it work out for you first.
Yeah, so Dre, to that point, right, man, what I'm learning to do, man, is to get out my own way.
Mm.
Stop overthinking shit and get out my own way. To that very point, man. You know
Yeah,
what
I
I
mean,
mean?
that's why I said my antennas go up in the good way and the bad way, because that's the flip side to the coin.
Yeah, I
In some
understand that.
situations, you gotta look at it like, yeah,
You gotta bust your gun, man.
yeah.
You gotta
So
make a move, man. You know what I mean?
right,
I
I
understand what
tell
you're
you,
saying completely.
well, I tell you, I know the mobile notary is real because I had a guy come last year when I had some I did some refinance work, and it was a brother who came by. He was in the area, and the people that he was working for, he had his own business. You could tell. He showed me right when he came to the knock on my door. Said, "Hey, I'm with such and such. I'm representing your mortgage company. Uh, I'm mobile notary, et cetera, et cetera. I got your paperwork right here." That's a perfect example of the mobile notary, man. And I've seen it. I've seen it online.
Right.
So
yeah,
to your point, Dred, there are what they call they even got a name for it, man. They call it the gig economy. You know what I mean? So basically, it's all these jobs that we just talked about: Lyft, Uber, DoorDash. Now let's talk about DoorDash.
Let's talk about DoorDash.
I bought a cheesesteak for my dad from here at my location. You know how much that cheesesteak cost, man?
like 50, like $50.
Man, that was a $30 cheesesteak, bro.
Right,
Hey man, listen, man. I just
and
had
you
a
still bought it.
I
I
bought
just
it
had
for
a
my
big
pops,
fall.
man.
Listen, I just had a big falling out with my daughter about money, man. That was just seeming to be flying. I'm like, what are you doing with it? What are you buying? So she's ordering food. I'm like, what kind of food are you ordering? DoorDash, Uber Eats. The race that they charging, man, should be criminal, man.
Yeah.
That should be
I mean,
criminal.
but what's crazy is that we still pay it.
Oh no, I
that's
never
right.
used it, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I forbade her to use it anymore. Fuck that.
Look, that's how I got hip to it, man. When I was spending $50 to $100 a meal,
That's
and I'm
crazy.
like, wait a minute, man.
Well, that gig economy is real, man. And let's be honest, man. These brothers and sisters they're entrepreneurs, man. You know, they're working for these companies and they're getting, like, when you do the DoorDash, when you check out, it's an automatic tip in that joint. You know what I mean? You gonna tip whether you like it or not.
That's
So
part of the criteria, baby.
that's part of the criteria.
Absolutely.
So these gig economy jobs, man, are entrepreneurial,
Yeah.
opportunities for like Brahim said. You don't have to be a college, college educated. You could have been up for a minute. All these jobs are available so that you can get money, man.
I just
Do
like to
something
add.
with it.
I just like to add to the not being a college graduate. You know, there's a host of trades that we should be
Oh, absolutely,
encouraging our children or the youth
absolutely.
to take advantage of. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, one of the biggest jobs that does not require a college degree is a real estate person. Most of them do have college degrees, but not all of them. Not all of them.
Let me add, getting back to the having the model in place. One of the things I mentioned, it's not about your social status, man. It's not about them degrees, right? It's not about you got a felony, not like DoorDash. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you can have a felony. It's just having a good driving record, right? And so, literally, just think about it. Even if you got your college degree, man, some people making $30,000 in social work, $40,000. Let's just say, okay, take that out. If you do Uber, Lyft, Uber Eats, DoorDash, and you put all that on your phone and make $200 a day, that shit gold, right? You would make on paper, if you just grind, no days off, 67,000 a year, right? I don't care. And so use my story as an example. I told you when I was working, I used to think I was going in board meetings, man, with the suit on. That's what I told myself. That's what my imagination allowed me to go. I had to see myself in that position. So even if you're making 67,000, you got to tell yourself, yeah, I'm in the hospital. Everybody think work at the hospital, you got a great job, and that's the mentality. But if you tell yourself you grinding, you gonna make 67K. That ain't 40,000. And right there, until you file your taxes, you getting that up front. That's a whole nother conversation. Because if I'm getting 65,000 a year, about the time I pay the taxes and my insurance, I'm only clearing about 40. But you got 67,000 in your pocket. So don't talk to me. Anybody that got an issue with this about your job, I just gave you the game. You can literally jump on Lyft, Uber, and make a living. If you're bringing in $5,600 a month and with your current condition, and you still talking about you ain't got no money, I don't know what to tell you. But,
and you segue into something, and we're going to talk about that later, too, in reference to those taxes, because that's your biggest liability. We show you a way where, being a business owner, you can almost eliminate those so you keep more of your cash flow. Right? So, because if you're making, most people that make 50, let's just say you make 50, you're in the tax bracket, the normal tax bracket, you're going to bring home 38, 37. Right? So if you can get closer to that 50, that's more cash flow that you go ahead and squeeze out. And that's one of the things that we're working with now, because that's most important. And that gives you the wherewithal to start handling your own economy and business. And it will help you branch out and really do some business. Because most people, we talk about business being entrepreneurs, but your first business, your home, that's your first business. Corporation, you're talking about that, Brian, what you're doing with your daughters and so forth and so on. So like getting that in order to give you more, especially if you're working, you want to maximize it. You know, you want to keep more of your cash, excuse me, as opposed to having to go out the door and then being able to go ahead and build with it, you know. So just to your point, you're absolutely right, you know.
So right off the top, do anybody have any other ideas or suggestions in terms of practical ways to put your hands on some money for investing?
I think we gave a lot of great examples, man,
Yeah,
especially in the gig
Yeah.
economy, man.
yeah.
The key
I would
thing that
agree.
Brian, my bad, go ahead, man.
No, I was saying I would agree.
And the key thing that Brahim mentioned was the richest man in Babylon. I think everybody should probably go at least go online. They got excerpts of it online. I mean, everybody got a phone and whatnot. So take a look at some of the excerpts off of The Richest Man in Babylon. The principles are simple. And anything you do, the first thing you should do when you earn anything is put a little bit away. That's all he's saying. He gives a lot of, he talks in allegories and parables. So that's basically what it is. It's a book of parables. And he's got some allegories in there as well, where he's talking about how people put money away, how people take care of themselves before they even pay out. All your bills and all that stuff, you gotta take care of that. Boy, guess what? Let me put something right here first. Right here. You know, why work and not pay yourself?
That reminds me of something my grandmother used to tell me, man. When I was about 18 years old, man, I got my first, real job after high school, man. Told me always pay yourself. I didn't understand it at the time. You know what I'm saying? But I definitely, am beginning to understand it. You know, and that consumer piece that you dropped on them, Brahim, is paramount. We're trained to be consumers. You know what I'm saying? And if we can, once you can hurdle that, you can start to see some clarity.
Yeah, and I want to add this just piece for especially the working folks in general, and excuse me, and just to Rafiki, what you were saying about the richest man in Babylon and just the basic principles, used to build wealth and being frugal, paying yourself, like y'all saying. Now we're learning to take it further because we talking about pay ourselves. So that means you got capital available. Now I want to take that capital, you can still go blow it, be a consumer, right? Now we talking about take it, not only pay ourselves, now invest in ourselves, right? We get some equity in our own self, be it some mental equity, so we can go ahead and build some physical equity, right? Or if you already got the mental equity, go ahead and create the physical equity. Now that could go ahead and you got an asset. We talked about last night in the production meeting about the formula for wealth in a format of cash, asset, cash. Going to work, having a business, whatever you do to create your cash, building and buying an asset that's going to spin off more cash, right? And that's the cash you should use to go ahead and buy stuff with, not the first cash. Shouldn't be buying George and all that with the first cash. We should be buying assets, right? Brahim, with the game plan, you talked about all the hours y'all talked about working. I'm working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day. You going out there and make somebody else rich? No. Right? You go out and take that cash and you build, buy an asset that's going to make cash. And then if I decide to go in and treat myself with that second cash, fine. But by the time you go through that process, you're going to be smart enough to go ahead and take that cash and create something. Right? You ain't going to just want to, after you put that type of energy and effort into it, you're not going to want to frivolously give it to somebody else and make their family and their kids rich.
Right.
I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up.
That's what you're not going to want to do.
Absolutely.
Right? So whenever you try to get the formulas, that's the simple formula. Now, how you're going to do that is your job or entrepreneurial mission and spirit. But the formula is getting cash, building or buying an asset that's going to spin off some more cash. And how many assets you can build off, that's a thing for you. So pay yourself, right? Get that cash and make an asset. Whether it's your mental equity that's going to create some physical equity, or just straight up some physical equity, get some property, get some investments, whatever the case may be, or a combination of both as you're going along. Excuse me, but definitely don't go out here being a consumer mindset and making something that as a group. Look at us as a group. That's why we suffer as a group. First thing we take as a group, we have a consumer mindset. And then we wonder why our kids are in the street killing each other, rebellious, doing stuff like that, because we out here making somebody else's kids rich, sending somebody else's kids to college.
Right.
No,
So
it's
now,
Louis Vuitton and all them kids don't need none of your goddamn money no more.
yeah, the whole time we fell on our children.
Right? And your kids out here killing each other.
Right. That's our fault.
Trying to get these things, right? When in reality, you can show them, how to create equity of business for themselves now, right?
Yeah, like Brahim said, man, he gave you the game. I think we all kind of gave facets of the game.
Absolutely.
And what we hope, I dare not speak for everyone, but I think I could say this is to our viewers, we hope that you've taken something from this, because what we're trying to say is that in the group there's power. What they say is power. A wolf, what is it? A wolf pack? The power is in the pack, right?
Indeed.
So together, man, we can do great things, man. I mean, I know that sounds probably corny and shit, right? Together we can do great things, like fucking.
Hey man, as cliche as it sounds,
fucking body. But all I'm saying is man, if we all have the same mindset, and it really doesn't even have to be a quote unquote wealth mindset. I would like to think it's a power mindset.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If we have a power mindset, wealth is just going to come, because that's part of what we're already picking up and putting down. So, yeah, if anything, I just hope that people feel some type of motivation to do something. If you're in any of these gig economies, like we talked about, if you got a group of folks, a fraternity, a brotherhood, a sisterhood, some of these things that Brahim talked about, you can employ. He gave you the game.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping we was going to touch on Black Wall Street as a model. You know what I mean? But I mean, that's going to be too long. That's going to be too engaging.
Yeah, I got something to look forward to.
Yeah, I was hoping we was going to touch on that, man.
Yeah, that's something.
And I was hoping one of y'all brothers was going to give me some more clarity on the NFT, but I'll just do some reading.
Oh yeah. I got a website for that, man, that I was dealing with. But basically, I'll send you the link. But basically, what it's doing, you can sell artwork, music, stuff like that, MP3 files, JPEG files. So it's literally in the infant stages, and I see a lot of young people capitalizing off of it. You know what I mean? I see people just doing really without sounding overly judgmental, it's really just putting together, just throwing stuff together and calling it art, squiggly lines, whatever. You know what I mean? And somehow it's selling. Like I don't really get the value of the person on the receiving end is buying it, but just the way that they got it set up, because you could sell a piece of artwork. Let's say you do like something on Photoshop and sell it. Then the way they got it set up is if the person that buys it from you, if they resell it, then you get royalties off of every time it sells. So you get money off, upfront money off of it, and then you get residual income. So what's happening is a lot of artists are now, it's a brand new thing, but it's a lot of artists jumping on it. A lot of established artists are now starting to sell their music. Independent artists are starting to, it's wide open right now. It's brand new.
And it's extremely, from what I understand, it's extremely secure as well, right?
Yeah, because it's all digital currency. So I was, just to experiment, I went on the website and I threw together something and put it up there. I got stopped at the point where I had to create a crypto wallet. whatever company I chose to create a crypto wallet didn't work for the United States. And so
Yeah.
I had to start the process all over again and find a particular company where I can create a crypto wallet, you know, yeah, other than that,
I
man,
got
it's
which platform were you using for the wallet? I just got asked. That's like the two that's really, really good.
it was the website that sells the artwork had a list of companies, and I just picked one off the top.
Okay, got you. All
So
right, got
I
you.
don't even know right
Know which
offhand.
one it was? All right.
Yeah.
Um,
Go ahead, Dodge.
but yeah, that was it, man. It was a really simple process. It's not complicated. You know what I mean? And people are, I mean, the money that they make, and I like I said, I don't even. I mean, I guess too, like when if you sitting on a bunch of Bitcoin and money, you know, you got the liberty to buy shit that to me I might not understand, like why you would spend that much on it, but somebody else, if they want it, they want what they want. But yeah, the money that
Yeah.
people is making is astronomical off of it right now.
Mm.
Yeah, it's all part of this old emergent currencies that are coming out, man. Digital is listen, learn about digital currency, man. At some point, it's going to become part of our lives more so than now. Like right now, what we are used to is, and this is a term I'm new. Listen, I'm not gonna say act like I'm, you know, all knowledgeable and all this stuff, but they call just regular money fiat currency.
Yeah, currency. Yeah, we talked about that.
Paper money. Paper money.
Yeah, so fiat currency is going to become a thing of like the past. You know what I mean?
Ain't it kind of like that now? Not to cut you off, but think
Exactly.
about it. Our money is this. We already, people say get ready for digital currency, but we already have digital currency.
We absolutely do.
We just
man.
talked about it. Y'all had to call the boy for y'all money, or if you go to the ATM, you got to hit them buttons, ding. So it's already digital. It's just owned by the government. These other things coming in are alternative digital platforms owned by the consumer.
Yeah,
right?
I mean, they pretty
I
much.
just wanted to clarify that because you know I was thinking the same thing, and then they hit me. It's like, no, we already digital. Think about it. Most time you ain't got money in your pocket, you got the card.
Man, listen, before Mill come in, we was joking, man. Listen, probably about 20 years, we gonna be walking around without pockets.
Right.
You ain't gonna need no pockets.
Right. So yeah, we already digital. It's just the platform, and what's going on with these alternative currencies is that they're giving you a platform, the platform that's called this platform that we on now that's digital, that's controlled by the government. Right? Yeah, our money. So what they're giving you is alternative platform that's controlled by the users, and that's also limited. Ours is controlled by the government. It's unlimited to the amount of money they can print to back up the digits that they put on the machines, right?
Yeah, I get what you're saying.
Right here, the competition is coming in where you get something of value that's finite, and then it's controlled by the platform of people that's there. So I see in the future where it's going to have its place because they talking about, remember, the government industry talking about 400 trillion money that's out here. So if this currency can touch, they talking about at least going to 4 trillion. So that's about 1% of it, you know, by year's end. So what you're going to start seeing is, and that's a small piece, but you see big people starting to pick up on it, a couple of the big investment companies.
Let me just drop a dime. Vu just hit y'all with a fact.
Yeah, my fault. I didn't mean to cut you off. This is the website.
I'll keep talking. I know people can hear me. I don't care to be seen sometimes anyway. But Vu just hit y'all with a serious fact, man. The what was that? Would you say 4 trillion or 400 trillion?
400 trillion is what's out there.
Well, I don't think 400 trillion is traded on the market every day, but
no, not traded, just in currency out there. But I forget how much traded. Go ahead.
I think it's about 1 trillion or so traded on the market every day.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So that's just something to think about, man. That's why when we talk about like getting into this compound interest, we didn't really talk about it But we've talked about stocks before, stocks and you know, that's how much money is traded on the market every day.
Yeah, about 100 trillion. And you talking about Philadelphia, one of the main trading vehicles is foreign currency. So like underneath 19th market is trillions going on every day. So a lot of times, not only is we not playing a game, we don't even know it's a game being played.
And that's where I was heading. That's where I was heading. I was about to say, so we got $1 trillion that's traded on the market every day. You mean to tell me
we can't get 1%?
We can't get none of that.
It's 1%. You know what I mean? Do the math. 1%.
We can't get none of that. We should be in there, man.
Do the math. We could get 1%.
And using Brahim's formula. Come on, man. Absolutely, we should be in there, man.
Yeah.
And you ain't got to be a tuxedo wearing motherfucker to do that shit. You know what I mean?
I just want to jump in, man. I missed this point, and it's important because sometimes I realize, like in my line of work with the young people, I learn to meet them where they at, and so when we use the word consumer, right? People really, some people don't really understand what that means. So I have to shed light on this. When you use the term retail therapy, right? When you unpack that, when you have somebody, when they're going through something, they go shopping to escape, to make them feel good, right? And so naturally, when we consumers, the reason why we buy these things is something, when you start peeling back, it's for us to make us feel good. Because I might take my last check knowing I'm struggling and go buy something. It's just for me to help, like a coping mechanism. It's for me to feel good. And so, and so I really wanted to address that, because when you're looking at it, so next time you're going through something, you might not drink or you might not smoke, but let me go buy something. When you really addressing that, when you self-assessing or you self-aware, you're doing that to really escape and make you feel good. And so the next time you do that, I encourage you to put that to the side, knowing that you're working towards a goal. Start adding that to your goal. And start, and so I definitely just wanted to touch on that, because it's much deeper than when we talk about this. People just buying, just to be buying. A lot of people from my neighborhood, most of them buying to escape, man, or feel good about themselves, man, because they ain't got no other outlets.
Indeed.
Yeah, it's important. I mean, it was dope and important that you said that, man. One of the things that I did over the last 2 years was I decided to become less of a consumer. You know what I'm saying? I probably had one of the biggest sneaker fetishes that anybody. You know what I mean? And I just scaled that back, man. And the fruits of that alone were amazing to me. You talk about buying things out of necessity, man. Buying things as pacification. That's exactly what I was doing and I was into, man. So I decided to redirect that energy, man. It almost caused me to hermit myself in the process, man. You know what I'm saying? And it's to the point now where, I get sick to go outside, because every time I go outside, it costs me. You know what I'm saying? Society is just set up that way. You know what I mean? And I want to see more fruit from my labor, man.
I'm sure between the five of us, we done spent easily a million on weed alone. and liquor, you know what I mean? Weed and liquor.
And you know what? I wanna. I just want to
maybe light something up, bro.
I want to hit you up when we talk about paying ourselves first. You know what the payment was, man?
What's that?
What you just said.
Weed and liquor.
Weed and liquor. We got to get out of that.
that's some vices right there.
But that's to Brahim's point, Brahim. I'm glad you brought that up, because
you make me feel guilty now.
Yeah, it's deeper than us just saying, we are consumers, because it is motivating behind that. They build a whole industry, advertising behind that, especially with us Black folks, and historically what it's done to us, because society has always made us feel less than. So they market to you to give you something to make you feel better about yourself and greater than. So that point was excellent. And, it is right, because consumer You know, it's not a bad word. It's neutral. You can be, intelligent consumer or not so intelligent consumer in reference to your spending habits. So to your point, it's more with us. It's more emotional, actually, intelligence than actually mental intelligence. You know, our emotional intelligence because they do provoke that in us. That's what the whole advertising piece is
That's the
about.
first time I heard that coin like that, fool.
Yeah,
Emotional intelligence.
absolutely.
Yeah.
When our emotional IQ is up,
I understand what you're saying.
we got to deal with those things, and that's what they're going to attack. As with Brahim, that point was excellent because you talking about advertising industry, they have a whole thing built around that. Colors, song, the whole nine. To provoke
Right.
things in you.
Right.
To your point, Brahim, to provoke those things in you, so you need
Right.
that therapy. Because
Right.
why would you need therapy if you haven't going through something? Right? So they send you through something, and then they try to, back with advertisement. I actually started remember this so deep that they invented television programs to fit around advertising, not the other way around. When television programming came into existence, it was built to wrap around advertisement so they could sell us shit, right? Or make us feel a certain kind of way about things so we go out and purchase those things. So that's just something to think about. To your point, it's really deep with us on an emotional level.
Absolutely, Vu, man. If we really paying attention, man, we listening to the jingles. We paying attention to the
Bingo,
rhythms of the
bingo,
jingles, man. You know what I mean?
bingo,
We looking at the
bingo,
imagery as far as
bingo,
what colors they using to
bingo,
create different moods and so forth and so on.
bingo.
That's a
All that
definite applicable science. You know what I
psychology.
mean? Yeah,
Psychology
that as well.
majors are
Right.
in advertising.
Hey, hold
Psychology
up.
majors are
Hey,
in
hold up.
advertising.
Hey, the prove your point. You ever see everybody so them drug commercials? Take this drug, and they got all it. They all happy, but side effects.
And then Brahim, but they get low on you. They get low and sexy on the side effects.
Oh yeah,
Side
yeah.
effects, man.
They're not important.
He done got naked. They done made you get naked by the time they finish with the side effects. He done got so sexy on you. They man food is just been taking off your drawers and all that good stuff.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just trying to heal my finger. What doing this motherfucker? That's some real shit.
That's hilarious, man.
Hey, but in real life, that's in all things, Brahim. Think about it. Think about this shit. When you go see something, you see advertisement, that should say free such and such, free such and such. And then down the bottom, they have a whole paragraph of exclusions and shit.
Yeah.
By the time you get out of there, you spend $50 in that motherfucker.
$50 to fuck the rest, fuck up anything that wasn't fucked up in you. Yeah, but your finger won't hurt no more. You know what I'm saying?
That shit be
Yeah,
real,
very
though.
subjective, man.
Hey man, before we go, man, I got one more for us, man. And it's marketed towards us as well, man. This is a good book too, man.
Wealth Choice.
It's called The Wealth Choice: Success Secrets of Black Millionaires.
Good stuff.
So yeah, this is a good piece right here too, man.
Mm-hmm. All right, you're gonna make me pull off. I was trying not to bring nothing out. Hold up.
Oh, you know that's part of the piece.
Don't start no competition,
too, man,
bro.
is
you heard all yours is in the knot. I was told all yours is up here today.
And it's funny because I can't find the ones I'm looking for. But I like that Wealth Choice freak. I actually somebody recommended that, so now I'm glad you did.
Yeah, absolutely, man. As we
I'm going to bookstore this weekend, man.
That's one of the pieces that I always try to follow up, man. Any of our discussions with something that could provide much more information than just us. I mean, because at the end of the day, we're bringing some knowledge, but really, we backed up. We backed up by something else as well. So, and you should be as well.
Hey, I'm gonna go on B.L.A.M. I'm gonna do a first time on B.L.A.M, Nas, and you're gonna like this one. I'm gonna recommend it. I can't find it, but y'all can write it down. Some of y'all might know The Slight Edge, and I'm recommending a book by a sharp little European boy. Yeah, I said that on B.L.A.M. Wow,
Jeff Walls.
Angry Becky.
The concept, so listen, I can go on record. I might need this for court one day. Y'all heard this shit, right? Yeah, I know what they said about me, because y'all heard this. Right? I might need this shit. Y'all witnessed it. So, but the concept about the slight edge, it's about in time, we either going up the slight edge or down the slight edge. Nothing stands still. But the things that we do daily is going to compound it. They talk about the story of having $1 million, or would you want a penny compounded daily for 31 days, right? Some people took the $1 million, some people took the penny. A penny compounded for 31 days is about, I think, 10 mil, right? You do the math. I said, damn. So we talking about compound. You talked about that yesterday, Feek, the 8th wonder of the world, compound, right? So you're talking about 1 times 1, 2 times 2, 4 times 4, 16 times 16, right? That type of math, right? Excuse me. Right. So that's
I got it up on the screen if you want everybody to get a visual of it.
All right, you can. And it's like what we do daily, and time is going to show. We could be going at the same rate initially, right? But how we stay on the course, what we do daily, with Brian talked about earlier, them daily disciplines done daily, them habits, that's what's going to create the future. You're not what you say you are, you with your habits, what you do. Right?
That's a big one.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
You are what your habits say you are, right? You know what I mean? So we got to get in the habit of doing the things that we want to productive as far according to our goals. So that slight edge, like the Japanese bamboo tree, it's a tree that when you water it, you get nothing comes up. You water it every day. 2, you got watered every day too. You don't see nothing. Picture the mentality you gotta have for a year. If I'm not mistaken, look it up. 2 years you watering this thing. You don't see nothing. But at the end of that point, it shoots up about 5 feet, 10 feet, right? Become one of the biggest trees in that region, right? But the discipline you gotta have to do it and not see a result and know internally in time that this thing gonna manifest, right? That's what we talking about doing with this thing we talking about. That give us the slight edges and what we do daily, the disciplines, the process. Right? He talked about that. Y'all hear him talk about that, the Kobe's and all that. We see the jumps, we see all that, the process. You know what I mean? That's what gave him a slight edge. The fact that he was willing to do a little bit more, a little bit earlier, consistently. So I really like that slight edge concept in all our things that we doing, because if we apply it, it's not a great big thing. You could do this daily. Just add compound, a penny a day. So the penny now is your thought, your habit, this thing. It ain't the penny now. What's your penny? You know what I mean? What I'm gonna do to compound daily to get what I'm trying to get to.
That sounds something like a metaphor.
Man, let me go ahead and pull this up on screen, man, so everybody can see it.
Concept of the penny. Transferred.
Yeah, give me some visual evidence. I want to take this shit to court.
There you go, right there, brother.
Yeah. Oh, you got a small feet.
Hit what's that key word?
Hit the what's the name?
Can you see it now?
What that say? Turn simple. Turn and simple. What?
There you go. Turn
and y'all see it?
Huh? What's the word, brah?
Disciplines, baby.
Huh?
Turn simple disciplines into massive success.
There you go.
Simple, daily. What you say that most people that are successful in the area do? They keep it simple.
Keep it simple.
It ain't complicated. It's little simple.
Stop sharing right now,
What I'm gonna do today. What I'm gonna do today. That's what
shameless
I
plug.
need to do.
Shameless plug time. This is aimed at the dread. We water some soil, brother.
Say it again.
I said we water some soil.
What you mean? What you mean?
Look at our tree.
Indeed.
Yeah.
You talking about? Oh, okay. I got you. I'm with you. Yeah.
B.L.A.M TV.
Yeah. I mean,
you took a posture yesterday during the production meeting, man. That just floored me, cause and it was something like this. I ain't got to do shit. I ain't got to say shit. You know what I'm saying? I love it, man.
Listen, because in my head, what I'm thinking back to when we first started and when we had obstacles and it was moments where I was like, all right, maybe this ain't gonna work out. We're gonna do it something, move in a different direction. You know what I mean? We had to overcome so many different obstacles in order to have this moment and moments like these. So now I just sit back. I don't say it, but I'm sitting back looking and listening to everybody, and I'm thinking about those moments where I was thinking to myself, well, damn, maybe I might just have to do something different. And Mill might have called me or Vu might have called me, and we kept pushing forward. Now we here. You know what I'm saying? So it's an amazement for me. Like, wow. Like, oh, man. You know what I mean?
I'm going to take it further than that, brother. I'm going to take it to my living room.
Yeah.
I'm going to take it to the barbershop. The fact that Brahim's sitting here right now.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying?
All of that. And another thing I was thinking as we were sitting here talking is, okay, going from the barbershop back then, and thinking about all of what I've been through and what I know y'all been through some stuff to get to where we at now. Imagine what can happen for where we going. Like when we when we plant seeds, like, yo, maybe we could turn this into an investment group. What needs to happen? Blah, 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 blah. Imagine if we look up 5 years from now and we all multi-millionaires based off of conversations and the unity.
I'm gonna take it further than that.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna take it to my feet to face brother right there. You understand what I'm saying? I'm gonna take it to our conversations over the past decades, even when we didn't talk for 5 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
That's real talk, man. When I was overseas, man, I was in Germany, man. I ain't talked to nobody when I was in Germany.
He's sitting right there. You understand what I'm saying? And I say this all the time, man. It's not a fucking mistake, bro.
Yeah.
This shit's supposed to be happening.
Yeah, I'm starting to really feel that a lot stronger now. Like, oh yeah, we on to something. We on to something.
Bro.
Yeah.
Bro.
And we laugh. How many times you laugh, man?
I ain't gonna talk about the wars. I ain't gonna talk about the wars me and Vu had in conversation. You understand what I'm saying? Sitting on Mifflin Street on the gate in front of your mom's crib.
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, indeed.
Oh, this is purposeful, man.
Oh, ain't no mistakes. Ain't none. What we gonna do? That's it. That it affords us the opportunity.
It's time to give back, man.
Rest is up to us.
I respect y'all. I love y'all. I thank y'all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've been sending y'all links in the chat section.
Yeah, I've been writing them down. I've been writing them down too. I wanted to make sure I got them.
I'm gonna get it now. And
Rarible is the NFT site, RARIBLE.com, Rarible.com. So you can check that out, Mill. You know what I mean?
What I'm thinking about is I think these actually save when we close out.
I don't know. I wouldn't trust it. Get that info while you can.
I feel you.
You better get it while you can, man.
Oh, it ain't going nowhere.
Scrambling back trying to get some shit, man. Don't be like me, man. I didn't scramble back a couple times, and I was like, damn.
Well, I seen some stuff when I logged on today. I seen some stuff from the chat from my last joint.
Yeah.
I'm gonna humbly request that you send this to my email or to my phone, brother.
All right, no problem.
Okay, Dred. I know it ain't already done.
Hey, but listen, before we roll out, man, I just wanna give some flowers out, man. I know we don't do that enough, man. Yeah, man, we gotta make sure that the people know that the information that we're giving is from the heart, man. Everybody's giving from the heart. Real. So, and we pouring out a lot of examples that we've been through, and we're sharing it freely, man. So, I humbly say I hope y'all appreciate some of this information that we're giving, and hope y'all see that what we're trying to do is plant seeds, man. When we talked about 1 million being traded on the New York stock exchange, that's only one exchange, by the way. That's not even the world exchange. So when we talk about that kind of money being exchanged in the markets, why can't we get none of that? We should be right there along with them, man.
Absolutely.
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 So
Again, Brian, man, I just want to thank you again personally, man.
No, I appreciate y'all, man.
I want to thank you again.
Appreciate y'all.
yeah, this has been very productive, man. Always, man.
I figured you'd be all over this one. You too, bro.
Oh, no
Yeah,
doubt.
this was
Hey man, the young man, and I said I could say young man. You know, I know you're a grown one, but like Dre said, man, you're far ahead of it. You know, stay on track, and for everybody else, man, concretely, I like just have a call to action because again, we talked about it. You know, and I'm business, so Brian know and about being business, whatever. We're gonna set up. We need to get together and concretely set up a schedule where we can realistically put the first phase in order.
there you go. Action.
Yeah,
Let's go ahead and follow up, man.
right.
And we're doing this publicly. You know what I mean?
So
we're doing this publicly, man.
We're trying to get traded on the stock exchange.
Yeah, I'm throwing out Wednesday because I know we usually do a production meeting. We could get back with each other in the meantime and just throw that out there. But let's like make that happen realistically because
that was a dope one last night. I appreciated y'all last night, man. That was a show in itself.
Yeah, so let's make that happen for that, you know, for that business thing going forward.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And also next time we meet too, man. And I'm putting this out here publicly too, man. I'm interested in getting some vending machines, man.
Oh
yeah, no doubt. We on that feet.
And just for the audience as well, you can get you a couple of vending machines from my information that I've researched so far with low cost entry. You just gotta have a will, like we talked about before. You gotta have a will of a champion, and you gotta put a little work in. That's all.
No doubt. Thanks for them flowers, Feek, man. I don't know if we can wrap up. Raheem, I picked up on you tonight. What else I just want to leave you with? I got the word for the night from you, discipline, right? You know, and people don't like it. They say it ain't sexy. It's actually painful when people hear it, like they cringe, you know, and I get it, you know, but we either suffer the pain of discipline or the pain of regret.
That's a quotable right there. We'll put that on a shirt, Mill.
You gotta pick your pain. It's gonna hurt either way, you know.
Put that on the shirt.
Yeah, break him off for that one, right?
And I can't say it originally.
Definitely gotta break him off for that one.
Yeah, I heard it somewhere, so I can't even grab it. But I know that whoever said it, the pain of
you can't Dr. Umar the situation.
Oh shit. Yo, man, we ain't gonna never get off here now, man. Hey, bro, you a wild boy, bro. See the dread perk up?
I really was trying to, because I was gonna bring up Jay Morrison when we was talking about real estate, but then I was like, yo, we on such a high, I ain't even gonna do it right now, man.
See, I've been chilling, bro.
You know, Jay Morrison is the Uber Johnson of the real estate game.
Right.
I must admit, man, as unengaged as I am, the little rapid fire on the current events, it was kind of cool, man. It's kind of cool to watch. Like, you know what I
mean? Yeah.
As uninterested as I am, man. You know what I mean? It was dope, man. I appreciated that. That's a good call.
Listen, we gotta do this again. Definitely the topic around the Black Wall Street, man.
Absolutely.
We gotta touch back.
Let's not forget Rosewood, Florida, Lackawanna, New York. You know what I mean? The list goes on and on, man. You know, that'd be something dope in itself, man, just to find Black metropolises that were doing major things, man, and were, you know, eradicated, for lack of better words.
Real quick, y'all, tentatively, how does Wednesday work for everybody around 7? And listen, this one gonna be business, so we're gonna be right to the point. Hour. Anything after that is on us. But how y'all look? How y'all feel about that? Y'all want to throw it out later, or how y'all feel?
Well, seeing as though I'm an empty nester now, man, you know I have no restriction.
Because
that's the one we
I
want.
don't like to leave. I don't want to leave us without a next date for that piece.
I hear you. That's business. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Are we gonna combine that with the production meeting, or are we just gonna do the business piece?
I like to do. I mean, we can hit it right after. You know what I mean? That make us handle the business. I'm with it.
One thing we gotta keep in mind too is that, you know what I mean, my man is at a 4-hour disadvantage.
Absolutely. That's why I'm throwing it out now.
You know what I
Talk
mean?
to us, bro.
Right.
Yeah. All right then.
Talk to us, bro. What you look like?
No, it's necessary. So I'm gonna make the time.
Okay. And then like we can go after every one, we can set it according to everybody's schedule. But I just want to get the follow-up in, you know?
Yeah.
Okay, so
actually, me and Brian actually spoke about that briefly, man. He pulled my coat on some things about that, man. Big, he pulled my coat on some shit you need to holler at him about too.
yeah, we'll start setting up
in
those
terms of what you're doing
conversations
right
and
now.
stuff too.
In terms of what you're doing right now with the mentor shit.
What's that?
He right there.
Huh?
He right there.
What we talking about? What?
I said you need to holler at him.
You know, right now, man, I'm sleep, man. I'm sleep.
Yeah, I know you
right
going.
now.
I'm talking about for the future. I'm gonna shoot you.
You know, right around 11 o'clock, I start sleepwalking, man.
So yeah, the whole premise of this was to get off here before 11, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Good thing we started early.
Right. So, bro, I'm gonna pass you our Feek number, man. You know what I mean? And, you know, some of that stuff you was telling me can benefit. He can benefit from right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Absolutely. We'll definitely talk, bro.
I think it's a necessary connection.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk.
Right.
All right, so next Wednesday, 8 o'clock.
Likewise, next Wednesday, 8, good stuff. And likewise, Mel, get Feek broad number from you. I reach out to him.
I'm gonna send it to everybody.
Yeah, because
he got a naked jersey on. That's all. That's all you need to know. Shit. Y'all see it?
Man, a couple times he sound like Kobe to me, man.
Y'all see it?
Sounding Kobe on me, man.
Y'all see it?
Don't fuck it up. So what is it midnight yet?
He say don't fuck it up. I hear you, man.
I almost escaped. The day was over.
You know what I mean, bro? He was talking that he was down with Magic shit earlier. That nigga ain't loyal, man.
I used to be down with a lot of shit. Oh, I used to be down.
He would put his Mamba shirt on. Yeah, man, come on, man. Go ahead,
Boo. I used to be down with OPP too. Some of that shit I gotta let go.
Yeah.
But no, we're gonna tap in next Wednesday, man. Thank you.
Shout out for that one.
But y'all know I'm sleepwalking right now,
Brady,
man.
no doubt.
Yeah, I'm surprised you hung in there this long, bro.
That sounds
No,
good,
I was going to
man.
hang in there, man, because we touched on a lot of
this was right in your wheelhouse,
important
too,
stuff, man.
This was right in your wheelhouse.
Yes, sir.
You win, Vu.
Yes.
All right, everybody.
All right, Naj, you want to take us out?
I mean, we out, man.
I just want to make sure. I got to check with the host. Hey.
Yeah, next week, 8 o'clock. I see y'all Wednesday.
Wait, this is a production meeting, right?
Yes.
Production / business meeting.
Yes, sir.
Gotcha.